like, oh, well, they just headed up and they didn't really ask me about if I wanted to go. Not to say I really had like a definitive answer, but it is what it is. But yeah, but rest in peace to my family friend. I talked about him a couple of weeks ago. Well, yeah, last week I think in the last two streams ago. My friend, family friend Carl and stuff. He was an older guy and whatnot, like about I think 80, 81 years old and stuff. But yeah, but he was a good man. He was definitely good and whatnot. He was kind of like sort of like a surrogate kind of grandpa in a way. But yeah, but anyways, yeah. So I'll probably do like a drawing or something in memory of him and all that stuff. But yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna wait for a couple of people before I get into some of these subjects. Definitely a lot of stuff has happened. Hey, what's happening? Fierce Epithetic Black Queen. Yo, hi there. How you doing, my friend? I'm doing good tonight. How you doing? I got the house to myself. Family's out of town. Well, out of the state for the moment. So that's great. Um, my family dog is not around either. Not to say that she would bother me entirely, but not around for me to kind of keep an open eye out for her. So she's with her other owner, so that's great. So it's just me and my cousin's lizard that she had left behind, but the lizard's doing fine. See the boys finale? Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about that for a little bit. I definitely did see that finale, but yeah. So I got a lot of subjects to talk about. So I'm gonna probably get into it and just ramble. Um, yeah, I saw the boys finale. I'm going to actually talk about that. I saw the entirety of the Netflix Devil May Cry. I'm still going to do videos covering it, and I was actually working on a video like a few hours ago that I wanted to put out. It will be out like next week. I'm actually going to talk about the Dante and Lady relationship and whatnot, and my thoughts about that one. My God, the finale is, I don't know, in shit level. Yeah. Oh God. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, it is. Yo, what's happening, XE kid, bro? How's it going? Yeah. I mean, I don't hate the finale of the boys, but I'm gonna definitely get to that in a second. But yeah, I had the house to myself today. Had to go to work. I mean, I wasn't really supposed to schedule to work, but my boss asked me to come in, and I came in because it's been a couple weeks since I've actually been to work because they had to like shut it down due to like remodeling and stuff. And boy, do they remodel. So it's going to take a while for me to kind of get a little adjusted to like the new work style. So hopefully I won't have to deal with any kind of crazy rush in the meantime and stuff like that during my confusion and stuff. But yeah, they definitely changed up the whole place like crazy at my job. So yeah, yeah, that's definitely something. Can you make a video on the boys finale? Unfortunately, I would not be making a video on the boys finale. What are your thoughts on the Punisher One Last Kill? I'm gonna talk about that too a little bit, not for long, but I actually watched Punisher Warzone last night because it's been a while. At first, I wasn't like, yeah, and this is my second time actually watching Punisher Warzone. But when I first saw Punisher Warzone and stuff, and this is I wasn't a kid. Well, I was a kid when the movie came out, but I watched it later on when I was kind of like probably like my early 20s. I'm in my late 20s now, and I was kind of like a little bit judgmental on it. I was like the acting and the over the top cursing, but it is a rated R movie. And the only takeaway from Punisher Warzone is really the action. And Ray Stevenson, I ain't gonna lie, he definitely did play a pretty damn good Punisher and stuff. I know a lot of people love John Berthal, and I like John Berthal too. I think he's a good Punisher. But I was watching Punisher Warzone because there was this one dude. I don't remember his YouTube name, but you probably might have seen him if you've seen him online. But basically, he's got like a lot of tattoos all over his arms and even on top of his head. Like he's bald and everything. He got tattoos on his head. I was like, oh, and his neck and everything. It was like, oh, okay, you're one of those type of guys. But he was but Punisher is one of his favorite characters, and he was critiquing, saying that John Berthal as Punisher is the least accurate out of the three Punishers that's played him. And I'm not going to disagree with that. I'm not going to completely disagree with that. I'm not a huge Punisher fan like that. Like I don't really read Punisher's comics or anything, but conceptually, he's a pretty cool character, though. I will acknowledge that, but I just don't. I'm not really interested in reading his comics, though. That's just me personally. But but yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, and I guess the main reason why a lot of people love John Berthal as Punisher is mainly because, like, you see him, interacting and teaming up with guys like Daredevil, and now he's about to team up with Spider Man and stuff like that. So and he's in the MCU, and the MCU is the biggest Marvel thing right now. So a lot of people are going to ignore a lot of the stuff in the past and focus on, oh well, at least we're getting these superhero crossovers and stuff like that. So yeah, it is what it is. Spider-Man: Brand New Day and the Punisher saying of it. I already saw Punisher One Last Kill. I saw that with a watch party with Jay Leno and his crew, and we had a pretty good time. It was pretty fun watching Punisher One Last Kill and whatnot. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was pretty good. It was like off some John Wick type shit, and the action, the fight choreography was really good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, I don't really get a whole lot of like why everybody's completely complaining about it. Like I guess there were some things that was out of character, like why is Punisher, like why is why has he got this full on beard? Why does he not get his hair cut or something? Why is he wearing a hoodie and stuff like that? There's a lot of stuff, I guess. But I mean, like I said, but it gave you some pretty solid action and stuff, some great fight scenes. And I mean, again, it's the Punisher. So that's all the more you just need going for you. As long as he's got the guns, the action, everything. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people love Punisher Warzone. So I rewatched Punisher Warzone because that guy showed a pretty cool ass scene where, like, in the introduction, like Punisher got on that shit, like he showed up like it was like Batman Year One. You know how like in Batman Year One, when Batman had declared his war on crime, and he showed up to that crime family's house or whatever, or showed up to like the corrupt inside Gotham and stuff. He showed up at their at their little dinner party and was like, none of you are safe. And then he made that threat and just disappeared. And then for Punisher was like, nah, I ain't making no threats. He just showed up and just started killing people. That shit was amazing. He got on that chandelier like the minute he knew more people was gonna come in, and like got on and started spinning, and then he pulled out the machine guns or the Uzis and stuff, and like he lit that place up. That was amazing, man. That was amazing. So I like that. And of course, and also a lot of people are also talking about like Jigsaw, which Punisher doesn't have a whole lot of villains, but one of his villains is a character called Jigsaw, where this guy, if he's a Punisher villain, that means like Punisher, because Punisher don't take any prisoners. So this guy really could get away with a lot of stuff. He can really like avoid getting killed by the Punisher somehow. But Jigsaw, yeah, his face, like he looks like because they did an MCU version of him in that Punisher Netflix series. I can't remember if it was season 1, but I could have sworn it was like it might have been a later on season, maybe season 2 or something. I only watched season 1 of John Berthal's Punisher. It was kind of a little bit slow and boring for me. That's just how I personally felt. But I saw like what Jigsaw looked in it, and I ain't gonna lie to you, yeah, he looked a lot more like the character from the comics, and a lot more like wow, like horrific looking inside Warzone than he did inside the MCU though. In the MCU, he just has like some cuts and stuff or whatever, but he doesn't look as like as grotesque or as like oh god, But yeah, I hated and laughed at the boys' finale and fuck Starlight ending. She's a total bitch to poor Huey. Yeah, let me get into that though, I guess. But yeah, but those are just my thoughts on that. And I actually like the first Punisher movie. I guess it's not really a whole lot of people's cup of tea like that, I guess. I mean, I kind of like the get back that Punisher had on the people that like went after his family and stuff. And I like the fight that he had with the Russian. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's all I can really say there on that regard. And whatnot. Yeah. But anyways, let's get into the boys. I'm going to actually share the screen and give you my thoughts about it. I'm not going to play the video. I'm just sharing the screen to kind of give you guys something to look at. So it won't just be my icon and I'm just talking in the background. All right. So where did I begin? So yeah, I saw the boys season finale. And honestly, I'm not even going to lie to you. I kind of regret watching the boys as long as I did, because honestly, maybe you were probably better off watching maybe season 1, 2, and probably 3, skipping season 4 and just like maybe watch the ending of season 5. And that's about it. Yeah. Or, well, maybe the first episode and the last 2 episodes of season 5. That's how I would probably put it. But, I'm a completionist, so I always want to like finish stuff or whatever, I guess. But yeah, but I'm not like a huge boys fan. I just like, it's just a show I sort of love to kind of hate at the same time, where I'm not saying it's quality entertainment, but it's kind of like, and a lot of people are also saying like, back in the day, the boys, was like such a phenomenon as a show and stuff like that, which I guess yeah, in a way it was because I definitely remember like because I think the show came out like what 2019 or 2020 and stuff. Yeah, it was kind of a major phenomenon at the time, but that was mainly because like a lot of the other superhero related shows were doing terrible. You know, you had stuff like the Arrowverse where you had the Flash, and I think Arrow's yeah Arrow had been ended, but you had the Flash and Legends of Marvel. Well, Legends of Marvel probably ended too, or Supergirl, where a lot of that stuff was kind of like you know going in a more campy, goofy direction, and it was just turning a lot of the audience off. So I was like, nah, I'm good. I never finished The Flash, even though I think they did have some good episodes here and there in those later on seasons, like when Barry confronted Reverse Flash, and it kind of came full circle that he had to stop himself from trying to alter time and stuff like that, and saving his mom, and he had to like have his mom die so that he could become the Flash or blase blase and have everything play out the way it did. So yeah, or like I guess he spent the night out with Oliver, who temporarily came back to life to spend some time with Barry for his birthday. So I think they had some good episodes from that. Again, I didn't watch it; I just seen the clips online. But I'm like, man, maybe that actually gets me to actually go back and watch some of those episodes then. But yeah, but that's what the boys was going up against. So of course it was blowing those type of shows out the water at the time, because they were just getting weird and goofy. And it wasn't even just the Arrowverse stuff. It was even like some of the stuff like in the Marvel movies was getting. And again, I keep making this point in my videos whenever I talk about the MCU, but it gets formulaic, generic. It's always about the same satire, comedy, and all this other stuff. Or we don't take things seriously because it's the real world, and this is kind of goofy, and this is only makes sense in the comic books and stuff like that. Like that gets annoying. Like can we start taking things a little bit more with some gravitas, please? Or even in the DCU and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I do like the DCU, but after like once we got past like the movies after like really Aquaman or Captain Marvel, and I did love I did like Aquaman, and I actually did like Captain Marvel. I thought those were actually pretty decent movies. But once we got after like those movies, the movies started to get a little bit too jokey and comedic, and they were trying to do too much like the MCU, which is my problem with the DCU because I'm like, yeah, that's the same damn problem. Really, with the DCU, not because of how dark it was. Honestly, those movies were a lot more talked about or better compared to like the DCU movies or like because remember 2019 we got stuff like Birds of Prey. Nobody liked Birds of Prey. Okay, and what was Birds of Prey? A jokey, campy, goofy film and stuff that nobody liked. Or we got the Ezra Miller Flash movie and stuff like that. Nobody liked that either. Or actually, well, I really didn't want to support it because one, I didn't like Ezra Miller as the Flash and stuff. I thought that was just a terrible casting. And then second off, it was Ezra Miller. And remember, Ezra Miller was doing all those crazy ass things during that time when he was like when they were like trying to promote the Flash or probably a year before it. I was like, oh fuck this. I ain't trying to deal with this shit, man. Because I just couldn't stand Ezra Miller. I was like, nah, I'm not supporting this weirdo. Most definitely I am not. And I'm not watching a movie that is solely like where he's the main character. Like, hell no. But anyways, let me read this comment that Fierce Empathetic Black Queen left. When Ryan adopted MM, it made sense that Ryan adopted sense. Then Ryan adopted Huey and Starlight made more alternative sense. I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't think like, well, it's not to say that Huey and Starlight can't take in Ryan because they are above the age of 18 or whatever. But to be honest with you, I think they were more closer to like being like siblings for Ryan, whereas Marvin is kind of like, he's old enough to definitely be Ryan's dad and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it kind of makes sense. I mean, they had no interaction like at all throughout the show, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, I think it makes sense because Marvin is kind of the most rational, the most sane one of the group. Well, him and Huey probably are, but yeah, that's just my take on that. I do kind of think it's ironic though, because when you really think about it though, like Ryan is the grandson of Soldier Boy, and remember, Soldier Boy did kill Marvin's family and stuff when he was a kid. So, I think that's kind of like ironic how at the end of the day, he had taken in his grandson and adopted him as his own and stuff like that. But yeah, yeah. But too bad he just never got his revenge on his Soldier Boy though, like he had wanted. But yeah. But anyways, What was I last at talking about? Yeah. So that's what the boys is going up against. So of course, a lot of those things that were flops at the time, yeah, the boys was obviously going to do better than that, including Invincible and stuff, because it was kind of doing something a little bit more different with the superhero genre, and it was kind of treating it like a little bit more serious. I mean, but like I know the boys is a little bit raunchy, vulgar, and all this other stuff, and it's weird as hell. But you got good looking costumes and stuff like that. You got like all this other side, like in a different premise from let's just make everything goofy, and now they kind of just turned everything into like just being goofy, or just made things into a freaking joke and stuff like that. So it's just like, yeah, that's kind of lame. And then Invincible, ooh, Invincible started off strong, the show, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna lie to you. Even though I kind of have a little bit of disdain for the show right now, due to the animation and stuff, and just I don't really feel the weird ass changes that they keep making from the comics and stuff. I just feel gravitated to I feel more compelled to just keep reading the comics. And right now I'm actually reading the comics. Like right now, I just read the comics like probably yesterday or 2 days ago. I just got to that part where it's revealed that Anissa actually does have a son with Mark. Marky Grayson. So, oh god, yeah. Um, and so basically, like Robot had took over Earth, and Mark and Eve had kind of left Earth to go and live a just a regular life with their daughter Tara and all that stuff. And they've been away for a while and stuff. And like Mark got sucked up in some kind of time thing or whatever when he got sent back into the past for a couple of weeks. And Mark tried to undo a lot of stuff that happened, and a lot of deaths and genocides or whatever that was caused by his dad, that later on got caused by him and Dinosaurus, like et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, let me see this. Um, Soldier Boy who killed many people, sure, yeah, he did. Thoughts about Vault Rising trailer? I'm not gonna lie to you, I have not seen it. Excuse me. Ryan is still 14 in the finale. He's still a minor. Yeah, he is. He is. That's what I was saying. Like with Huey and Starlight, I mean, they could be like more like siblings because they're like what, probably like their mid to late 20s and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, they could still take him in. But I think it's probably a lot more effective if Marvin took him in because he's a little bit more put together compared to everybody else in a way. Like he already has a daughter that should be probably around the same age as Ryan, and he is already he just got remarried to his wife. So yeah, how's it going, Ashes? How's it going? I was just talking about the boys. I'm not gonna play this clip. I'm just showing it just because to have something to talk about in the background than just look at my icon the entire time. But yeah, how you doing tonight? Siblings can adopt like guardians. Yeah, they could, but I'm just saying they give it excuse me, sometimes you kind of need more of a parental figure than you need more like a sibling in your life, to kind of show you a little bit of guidance or direction and whatnot, where siblings sometimes, and I'm not saying siblings can't raise their own siblings and stuff like that, because I mean, take and I'm going to actually use my not my personal experience, but a little thing about myself. Now, my great grandma had taken in her youngest sister, right? My great great Aunt Meta and stuff, right? They're like 16 years apart and whatnot. Um, but yeah, she took her in and whatnot and raised her after their parents had passed away or whatever, and raised her like her own. So I'm not saying it can't work, but sometimes you just need like a little bit more of like a parental guidance in your life in some kind of way. But anyways, what was I saying? So yeah, with Invincible, I'm on the part where they just revealed Mark's son Marky and stuff, and that Anissa's been raising him along with her husband and whatnot. So, oh man, that's gonna be. I can't wait to see Mark's reaction to that. I know he was pissed the fuck off and stuff, and he kind of hated his son too, which I'm like, damn. Which I mean, I get because I mean, it makes sense that you don't want any relation or any connection as harsh as that sounds to your son, which kind of feels like okay, he's the embodiment or he's a product of what and stuff like that, and you were assaulted by this woman and it's just like a reminder of all that trauma and stuff. But still, yeah, like it's just yeah, it's crazy. Hey, but yeah, so Robot took over the world. Mark's been away for 5 years. He got sucked into some time thing where he was trying to actually like he got sent back in time where he tried to undo everything, but he had given it up because he wanted his daughter to still exist. And then the creature that sent Mark back in time was like, "Are you crazy? Like you're saving countless thousands of lives and whatnot, and you're giving this up just for your daughter and stuff." Which Mark was saying, "Well, yeah, I know if I get with Eve and stuff, I can still have a child, but then it won't be the same child that I have. It won't be Tara like that. That's the chances of her not existing, and I just can't take that chance, stuff like that." And then and I remember a few years ago, I was talking to my friend about this before I got this far in Invincible. Like I kind of already knew a little bit because of like some shorts that people did on Invincible and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah. And he was telling me like, yeah, Mark's daughter Tara, she definitely becomes a piece of work later. So I'm gonna find that out the hard way, or find that out just how bad she became. Kind of like Lilo and Nani being a perfect between Ryan. Oh yeah, that's a good example right there with Ryan and Huey in that kind of way. Yeah, that's a good example. I'm just thinking like think of like Star Wars for example, right? Taylor, think of like how in Star Wars where like of course Obi-Wan had taken in Anakin as his apprentice and whatnot, but originally Anakin's real master was supposed to be Qui-Gon Jinn, right? Which is Obi-Wan's master because Qui-Gon's already a fully realized Jedi master, and he's older, like he's old enough to take care of Anakin and stuff like that, whereas Obi-Wan's old enough to be his brother, like an older brother. I mean, he still raised Anakin and stuff like that, regardless. But I'm just saying, like Qui-Gon would have been better suited to like raise Anakin and kind of guide him. And a lot of fans kind of predict or say that honestly, if Qui-Gon was actually alive and stuff, Anakin probably wouldn't have became Darth Vader. He probably wouldn't have had his relationship with Padme because Qui-Gon probably would have talked about it, and he probably would have fulfilled the prophecy and stuff like that. Whereas with Obi-Wan, I mean, they were cool and all. Obi-Wan is kind of like an older brother for him, but Obi-Wan kind of let him get away with a lot of stuff that he knew was going up against the Jedi code and stuff like that. So, yeah. So that's how I can kind of visualize that with, I guess, with Huey and possibly Ryan. But I mean, but ain't nothing wrong with that though. I mean, Huey got Starlight pregnant, so they have a child now, or well, a new child now because they just got, they had a abortion the last season and stuff, and now they're having a child together now that everything is kind of in order and people aren't going after them anymore. Kind of dumb as hell how like Starlight just flew off and was like, "I'm going to fight crime while pregnant." Yeah, yeah, that's very smart. Starlight, just do exactly that. What's happening, Pride? It's been a while since I've seen you on here. How you doing? But yeah, but that's a good one though, Taylor. Yeah, definitely like Lilo and Nani. That could have been good. But the reason why Nani was chosen as because she's the only like family that Lilo has, the only living relative that she has, because their parents died in that car accident and stuff like that. You know, I don't know how animators handle an Anissa raped scene in the comics. It made sense. Yeah, well, we're gonna wait and find out how they're gonna handle that. Huey named the child Robin. Yeah, yeah. I'm not against it entirely, as a lot of people are against the idea and stuff like that. It is weird. I'm not gonna lie to you, kind of a little bit, yeah. But it would probably make sense to like if Robin was like the child's like middle name or something like that, then I can kind of see it. But because when you think about it, like if it wasn't for Robin's death, it wouldn't have been a catalyst for like how Huey had ended up with Starlight and put him on this track to like helping Butcher defeat Vought and defeating Homelander and all this other stuff. Just just to put that out there. Why these pregnant heroes be fighting while they're pregnant? I don't know. They'd be like, oh, now I really feel like I want to be empowered and I really want to be like, oh, this independent woman and stuff. I'm going to be pregnant. I'm going to fight crime. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, risk losing your child and stuff. You can't just let somebody else just do it. So, which do you prefer, the boys, the comic, or the show? I'm not gonna lie to you, Pride. I have not read the comics at all. I've seen the shorts of it, and I'm not. And trust me, I've seen their kind of opinion books, but unlike Invincible, I'm not going to commit myself to like reading the comics of the boys and stuff. I'm just not. I don't because I know like yeah the comics for the boys. Yeah, I mean, granted, I just watched the damn show and I watched 5 seasons of it and stuff for about a couple of years. So I mean, you got me there. But I guess if you were to ask me personally, I guess I think the show kind of goes a little bit more in depth with the characters compared to the comics, you know? Because I was kind of on Jay Leno's stream when I was talking about this, and I was saying, like, because I'm not talking about the boys on my own channel. Like, well, I'm talking about it right now on my own channel, but I'm not doing a video talking about it. But when I was on Jay Leno's channel and, we were chilling and stuff talking about it, I was saying, like, well, I think A Train in the show is better than the A Train in the comics because some of those characters are just one dimensional or just exist to like get killed off. But at least A Train had that redemption arc and stuff like that in the show and whatnot, Even if he is like a race swap of the one from the comics and stuff, I still thought, okay, he is kind of a little bit interesting though here in the show, in my personal opinion. But yeah, Obi-Wan's mistake wasn't that he let Anakin get away with stuff. The problem was that he didn't really he really tried talking about it. Qui-Gon definitely would have figured out Sidious. Yeah, he definitely would have. And honestly, I heard Qui-Gon definitely would have been against the clone trooper army and stuff like that. You'd be like, hell no. Which, and Sidious controlling the army and stuff led to the Jedi downfall and stuff like that. Which, speaking about Star Wars, I actually saw this Revenge of the Sith book at this used bookstore that's in my area, and I wanted to get that so badly. Like, I mean, not so badly, but I thought about it for a second. Like, I saw it last week, and I was like, maybe I should probably get it. And I come back today to look around for it. I'm like, damn, somebody got it. And like, it was the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, which Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie and stuff. I love the emotion. I love like, yeah. And honestly, it's kind of the catalyst to what led up to like, it's the catalyst to how the original trilogy had started. So before people would be like, oh, the prequels suck. Well, you wouldn't really have the technically speaking, you wouldn't have this if it wasn't for this movie or the premise for it, if it wasn't for like, this to have the original trilogy. But yeah, so I was like, damn. So maybe I'll just get it online some other time. But anyways, as Vought is going to reform its finale so that humanity gets screwed, they got another Homelander. Yeah, they will. And honestly, it's kind of dumb on Vought how, like, because I think in the comics, the whole reason why Black Noir was created, and he was a clone of Homelander in the comics and stuff, was so that he could be a contingency in case, Homelander got out of control or to stop him and stuff, right? Whereas in the show, they never had any contingencies or any ways to stopping Homelander. They just like, oh, well, he can just walk over everybody, or they have him controlled. But then when he started to like, rebel and go up against people and started to like, they had no way of taking down Homelander, or they had no way to check him, besides a lot of mental gymnastics and stuff or mind games or whatever. But they never had any kind of way to actually control him, though. So I will say that probably made a lot more sense in the comics than it does in the show. But yep. But this Vought Rising show, I heard is like a prequel type show for like what's his face? It's a prequel show for like the boys and stuff. So that should be interesting. I'm not really gonna watch it. I didn't even watch Gen V to tell you the truth because I didn't really care. I watched the boys, got it out the way. If I hear Vought Rising is really that good, maybe I might feel inclined to watch it, but right now I think I might be good. How do I feel about Static joining the Teen Titans? It's interesting. I know you saw Trey McKell's video that he had put up last night. Yeah, that actually does kind of work and stuff. It's nice to have Static back in the Titans. Don't know why the hell Tara's there. I'm like, oh god, why do they put fucking Tara in this lineup? But Static, all right, that works. It'd be nice to kind of have him just be a side character for the moment in Teen Titans and stuff. And I kind of want Virgil to kind of be in his own generation with the other sidekicks or the other people that are supposed to be like Titans and stuff. So I'm not saying like because I remember I got into a debate one time with nerd culture is toxic about it, where he was like, "Oh, well, I think Static should be in the Teen Titans. He should be in this lineup with Dick Grayson, Donna Troy, or Wonder Girl." He doesn't know who Donna Troy is, I bet. He said, "I don't know why Flash is there. Clearly, that's Wally West, Cyborg, Starfire, and Raven." I'm like, Virgil is much younger than them, and he was like, "Oh, I think he should be the leader and stuff." No, like no, he's less experienced, and he's not even the same age as any of them. He's a little bit more younger. If anything, he should really be in the same generation with the Young Justice lineup because that's his age range. He's in the same age range as well, technically speaking, not Connor Kent Superboy, but he is technically. But Connor Kent Superboy, Bart Allen, Tim Drake, and Cassie Sandsmark Wonder Girl. That's Virgil's age range. So if anything, he should really be in a team with them. That's just my personal opinion, because he had a bit of a rivalry with Superboy, and he does have a pretty good relationship with Tim Drake, even in the cartoon and stuff. Like him and Tim Drake, they had a pretty decent friendship. I mean, it's a little underrated, but yeah, they were they were cool. And even in I think the New 52 comics and stuff, like literally Virgil helped design Red Robin's suit. So yeah, I think they should definitely be on more teams together, more so than putting them up with a lineup with like Nightwing, and unless it's like for a mentor kind of relationship that he has with them, like what they tried with that the 2000s Teen Titans run. They sure. To be fair, the prequels are still clunky since Lucas can't really write natural dialogues, but at least he didn't cast Leonardo DiCaprio on Anakin like he initially wanted. Oh, I don't know about that. Um, I know that George Lucas, and I heard this from Star Wars Theory, that he was saying that George Lucas tries to refrain really from casting high profile celebrities. Like I think Michael Jackson wanted to like voice Jar Jar and stuff like that, or whatever, or whatever. Or like some people were like, "Oh, well, Tupac's going to play Mace Windu" and stuff like that, you know. And George didn't want it to be like, "Oh, this celebrity, festive, like or like this whole celebrity fest or whatever." He wanted this just to be like his own vision, where these are like just and of course some of these people like Samuel L. Jackson, Natalie Portman and stuff have became a little bit more high profile down the line, or Liam Neeson or whatever became a little bit more high profile later down the line, but still. If soups were real, we'd rather be happy being humans than soups for reasons. Yeah, like I don't know, like with the boys, they tend to exaggerate a lot of the stuff in there. So I don't think that like what I'm saying, like not every superhero or every soup inside the boys is going to be like that messed up and that crazy. I mean, yeah, I can definitely understand some people definitely using those powers in those type of ways because people are weirdos, but like in weird sexual ways sometimes, or kind of for profit or whatever and stuff like that. But there definitely has to be like at least you know some genuine person out there and stuff that can actually like be out there and can actually like that's how I personally feel. If soups would be real, we'd be happy humans with soups for a reason. I knew how reality of Starlight handled her pregnancy while fighting it. If it ironic, she endangered her child and herself as well. Yeah, yeah. Starlight, man, Starlight is just not that smart to me sometimes. I mean, I don't know. I just love to hate her character, I guess you could say. I'm like, because even in this finale, like she literally fights the deep, right? And like she literally like tackles that man like Mortal Kombat Injustice style stage transition and flew him to the damn beach. And look, I'm not complaining about how the beach, I mean, how the deep had went out or whatever. I'm just like, why the like I'm just like strategically, I'm like, why the hell would Starlight fly him out to the beach where he's more stronger at when you could have just fought him in the city or whatever? You know what I mean? Like where he doesn't have that much access to water because she didn't know that he was banned from the beach and that if he gets into the water then all these like aquatic all those aquatic marine life is going to attack him and kill him. But I guess the writers kind of wanted to see what will wanted to show us what will happen if he did, And I ain't gonna complain. I was like, okay, cool. you know. But I just thought, yeah, like Starlight as a fighter, I'm like, man, this girl got no strategy whatsoever. That's why she be losing half these fights to people that she shouldn't even be losing to. Like, how the hell she lose to O Father, a guy with supersonic screen, and she got light powers. She lost to A Train. She lost to Black Noir. She lost to the Deep before. Like, damn. like, okay, damn. Like, Starlight is trash when it comes to hands, bro. Even the flying animals and shit like that. I'm like, Starlight, use your damn powers. What the hell? I mean, the only fights I think Starlight really won like that um, was really, and I mean, like by herself, was really against that shapeshifter. I'm like, oh wow, a shapeshifter, but she got light powers and she can fly. Come on. Or like, who she beat? Oh yeah, she snapped that psychic's neck or whatever because she thought that that psychic killed like Huey for a second, but instead killed Translucent Sun, Maverick or something like that. I was like, okay, at least Starlight can win some fight. Like she's winning some fights here and there, but damn, like she is trash when it comes to fighting, bro. Super real life celebrities like a Diddy's party and Epstein is as well. Yeah, that can be a possibility. Unfortunately, the Deep suffers depression. Yes, yes, he does. But he's a fucking weirdo. yeah, like, and look, I don't got any sympathy for the Deep and stuff like that. Man, he sexually assaults Starlight. He does bestiality. He kills people. He's a coward, a sniveling coward for Homelander, and everything. Like, nah. like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a running on joke how they kept him alive for so damn long, but they killed off almost everybody else. Like, yeah, that's weird and crazy. But I don't know. Major mistakes is killing off Firecracker or Black Noir in the finale. Yeah, I wish they would have actually went out against the boys. Like, I think it would have made sense if Firecracker fought Starlight and they fought or something, and she might have like killed her or something like that because they had a rivalry back in season 4 that they were trying to like mess around with, but then they did nothing with that. And Homelander just kills her outright, and it was just like, well, what was the point of that? you know, or at least have if you're going to do this whole thing because at that episode that Firecracker got killed in when they were going through all that filler stuff or whatever, or those side stories or subplots or whatever you want to call it, Firecracker, what did she do? She was like, she's a strong Christian, right? Well, apparently not strong enough, but she used to be a very strong, dedicated Christian type of girl, Southern chick, and stuff like that. And then Homelander kind of scared her out of her beliefs. And when there was like this one thing that she wanted to help out with her church and stuff, or her home church or whatever, she betrayed everybody and was like, you know what? It's the Starlighters, and I'm like, oh my god, you bitch! like, yeah, at least you went out like a punk. That's the thing. So that's trash. What's happening, Ruby King? How you doing tonight, bro? I hope you're doing well. I ain't gonna lie, your profile kind of reminds me of Tyler Perry for some apparent reason. Did you see the Clayface design for Absolute Batman? Them designs are out of the world. I hate when people compare Absolute Batman to Affleck Batman. Like Absolute Batman doesn't even act like well, I guess you mean Batfleck at the end. No, I did not see the design for Absolute Clayface. I saw Robin, like Absolute Robin had like it's like some kind of mech suit or some shit like that. I don't know. But I'm not really keeping up with Absolute Batman like that. But yeah, the Deep's fish friends, and Samuel L. Jackson hated the Deep for fish holocaust. Yeah, yeah. Samuel L. Jackson's like, yeah, step into the water again, motherfucker. like that was so random. It's like hell, bro. No, not Tyler Perry. Firecracker is just a stereotypical Southern Belle type. Yeah, exactly. It's been a while. Yeah. But yeah. Like I was like either two ways. Either she should have went out to Starlight or something like that, or if she did get killed by Homelander, at least have her stand by her beliefs and be like, no, I am going to. And then Homelander kills her for that reason because it just felt like that was pointless. And then Black Noir, like God, that's just terrible. And there was like I remember like I know I'm talking about nerd culture sometimes here and there, but like nerd culture did a video talking about like how the boys is racist or whatever and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe he might be onto something at this point because I'm like, damn, you killed all Black Noir to the deep? Holy shit. Like this man like literally like, took some cable, strangled the deep, and then took one of his knives and then stabbed him in his neck and killed him and stuff like that. I'm like, so this man talks a big game that he can fly, which we haven't really. Well, I guess he did it a little bit in the season 4, but I forgot. Oh yeah, he could fly. Why didn't he just fly when the deep was trying to strangle him to kind of get him off of him? Like that would have made a perfect sense. But I don't know. Then they made Sister Sage when she lost her intelligence and stuff. She was like just an idiot, straight up. Like, okay, whatever. And then killing off A Train. Well, A Train had it coming. I mean, I do respect that he had the redemption angle, and I kind of wish like there's a part of me that was like, man, he's someone's uncle. He's got nephews. He got his brother and stuff like that. I hope. Well, if he's gonna die, then I hope they're gonna be okay too. But so I mean, I assume his family's okay. But yeah, but he paid his price. When I hear Samuel's voice, I was like, what the fuck? I tripped out. Yeah, I died laughing at Samuel L. Jackson seeing talk threatening the deep. Yeah, that was just out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, they got Samuel L. Jackson for the boys. Oh Father is based on Tyler Perry guy, accurate allegedly. Yeah, I had to think about that for a second. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Oh Father doesn't do any crazy shit with like men and stuff like that, but I can kind of see it with the whole religious zealot thing angle of it, though. But well, what's happening, Dr. Hino? How you doing? Oh, Father in the comics is a pedo. Yeah, I heard about that. Funny that the show never implies that. Yeah, yeah, I heard about that. I saw that in the short, like in the boys' shorts and stuff like that. But yeah, but anyways, as far as my thoughts on the season though, because I know I was going for a minute reading these comments. Um, the season. So I mean, the first episode was all right when they were in the internment camps and all that stuff, and like they got out. A Train came in and saved everybody one last time, and then Homelander killed him and stuff like that. But I'm like I don't really think much about the boys critically, but yeah, I guess that would have probably been a good time, like a good opportunity to have like Homelander mask off after that flight video, like of him letting the plane crash just happen and stuff. They should have made that like, oh, okay, everybody's now growing divisive on Homelander and they're starting to like question him and stuff instead of just be like, oh no, it's AI, and they just dismissed it and it never got brought up again after the allegations and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, like it's like, okay, that would have been an interesting plot line to kind of divide everybody. And then Homelander probably would have gone crazy and was like, all right, well, I'm going to subjugate everybody since you guys want to doubt me so much. And then we could have had like some kind of Jack and Daxter kind of thing where, like in like Jack 2, where like, that city, like, what was it? Haven City. It got taken over, like it was taken over by those guys and stuff like that. Yeah, and like that would have been actually pretty interesting to see the boys like revolt against that kind of thing because that's essentially kind of what they are, sort of in a way. But yeah, yeah. And then the last 2 episodes, like and then most of the other episodes, a lot of people are saying it's filler, and yeah, it kind of is. It's kind of just weird filler and stuff like that. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like filler, but now is probably not the good time to be doing all that because it's the season finale. Shouldn't be like treating it like you got more stuff to set up for another season and stuff like that, but it's probably for that Vault Rising show and stuff like that. I guess they had to like kind of like show that okay, Butcher, they got the virus now, and Butcher's going to release it as like his final trump card against Homelander or against like the soups in the world and stuff. And Huey and the others are trying to find alternatives, and they found an alternative, which was to turn Kamiko into like kind of like Soldier Boy, where she can use her power to like strip away other to burn the V at like the vault, like the V stuff out of like out of people and stuff like that, and they used it against Homelander. And then we get this legendary scene right here. I'm not gonna play it, but you got this legendary scene right here where Homelander is like at the mercy of Butcher, humiliated, crying and stuff like a little bitch. He's like stop. Oh. Hey, I don't care what people say about this episode, but you can't convince me. This shit was hilarious, bro. He was crying. He was like, my God. He was like, holy shit. Like, oh my God. He was, oh my God. I can't. He was like, he told Butcher that he was gonna suck him off and everything. He was like, I was like, yo, I was like, yo, I had to go back a couple of times on that. I was like, oh my god, the humiliation, bro, is complete. And he was like, "I'll eat your shit. I'll eat your shit on live TV." Like, oh my god, that was pathetic. That was pathetic. So yeah, like, I mean, I know Homeland is supposed to be a parody of Superman, obviously, and like Superman, even without his powers and stuff, Superman is way more like, he's like, definitely like your average like man in terms of strength and stuff, and he can still fight because he's had training outside of like, he doesn't just rely on just his super strength and abilities. Like he also got training from like Batman, Wildcat, and Wonder Woman on how to fight. So even if he got like, because he's been in situations where he lost his powers, but for Homelander, he's never had that kind of experience or dealt with anything besides, well, terrorists and stuff like that. But he just uses his power to overwhelm or antagonize people and stuff like that. But just take away his powers, then what do you got? You got this shit right here. Oh my god, priceless, 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 priceless. Oh man, it was so priceless. Good catch you on live. Yeah, it's nice to see you, man. Finale waste of time of Ryan too soon. Oh yeah, speaking about this, I actually saw this. What was it? Wednesday? Yeah, yeah, I saw this on Wednesday, and ironically, my dad for some reason came into town and stuff like that. I haven't seen my dad in a couple of years because, well, I mean, it's not like we don't talk or anything, but my dad lives all the way in Arizona, and I live in North Carolina. So you can imagine, like, obviously, that's a pretty far away trip. And knowing my dad's crazy enough to actually drive that far and stuff, across the country. Hell, he went to like because originally he's from well, I'm from Maryland, he's from DC and stuff like that. My dad went from all the way from DC to Arizona, like 10 years ago or so when when he moved, or 9 years ago when he moved and stuff like that, right? So he's kind of stayed in Arizona since, but I guess he wants to kind of move over back here. But he just came over here to visit, and I was like, oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, I mean, I'll give you my address. I'm here, and we hung out. We hung out and stuff. I kind of showed him around and places I go and stuff like that. We had some Chick-fil-A. I just had some Chick-fil-A today too because got the house to myself, freedom, and all that. But yeah, we talked and stuff. Yeah, yeah, it was pretty cool. So I had a fun day, but this is the second best thing right here that made my day. The first was hanging out with my dad though after a while, so that was pretty nice. Not to forget about Frenchie and Kamiko, lame ass relationship, but it's very bad that Kamiko takes Homelander's powers. I mean, I'm not against it. Even the relationship between Kamiko and Frenchie too, and stuff. I don't hate it per se. Like I thought it was all right. Like now, personally myself, going back in time, I probably would have preferred Frenchie with that one girl that he was with that like smokes a lot or whatever. Yeah, she was kind of cute. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I think she was kind of better as like a love interest for Frenchie, but it's kind of weird because I think they had Frenchie sort of in a poly like. Well, a lot of people were like, "Wait, why is Frenchie gay in what was it, season 4 or something like that?" And I just was like, "Yeah, it's whatever." Because Frenchie has been through a lot of abuse, and I think possibly sexual abuse from his dad and stuff like that. Um, so I'm like, yeah, so a lot of that stuff could affect people and stuff like that, and sometimes they might, go to the other side of things like that due to that kind of trauma. So I'm not personally against it either, but yeah, and I think he was in a I can't say the damn word. He was in a polymorphous relationship with that one chick and that guy, I think, and stuff. That's what it kind of seemed like. I was like, oh, that's weird, but it's the boys, so I'm like, I expect no less. They would probably explain that, like, explore that type of territory of things. So yeah. Was Frenchie's death too soon? No, it was just right. Honestly, I kind of predicted Frenchie would probably be the first of the boys to die or something like that. I didn't know if everybody was going to survive or not, but I knew Frenchie was probably going to be good. Like he was going to be the one to go because he's the smart one in the group, and like he's the most valuable asset. Like even Butcher was trying to protect Frenchie and stuff like that because he needed him for that virus and stuff. And then they needed him later to kind of figure out some kind of way to like take away Homelander's powers and stuff like that. So Yeah, not gonna lie, that scene is the memes. Someone did a edit of Stan Edgar. You're not worth of my respect. You are simply just bad product. That went hard. Yeah, it definitely did. Glad I dropped the show at season 3. Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I kind of regretted staying on as long as I did, but hey, it is what it is. The Boys creator made Homelander based on Trump had Elon Musk out of nowhere in the final episode. Yeah, I didn't even notice that that was supposed to be like a caricature of Elon Musk, but yeah, made sense. And yeah, it was kind of dumb that he based well, not even he based Homelander off of Donald Trump, but more so like he what did he do? He made him like a caricature of Donald Trump, which that was pretty stupid. Like, why would you do? Like, I don't know. Like, because I mean, look, I understand people don't like Donald Trump, whatever, whatever. Don't want to get into politics like that per se. I don't hate Donald Trump. I actually think he's all right. My personal opinion. My personal opinion. Just my personal opinion. But but I understand why people probably don't like him and stuff like that, and that's fair. But it's kind of getting annoying in this day and age that every time that there's got to be like a new villain or something like that, or somebody's got to be in politics or whatever, it's always got to be cartoonishly exaggerated to be like a caricature of Donald Trump, and that gets annoying and it gets old fast. Like literally, South Park I think just got like ripped to shreds. South Park of all things, and South Park, yes, we know South Park makes fun of all things. We know, okay, fine, they're not above making fun of Donald Trump. But do you got to do like what 4 or so back-to-back episodes talking about the man? Can you like get his name out your mouth and stuff? Or it's kind of ironic you talk about Trump, but you're not going to talk about Kamala Harris, not going to talk about Barack Obama, not going to talk about Joe Biden. And trust me, there are things that definitely make fun of on Joe Biden more so than Donald Trump, if you could ask me, than the same tired ass jokes, But it is what it is. Even though season 5 is a disappointment, it was more satisfying to see how many. Exactly, that's what I was saying. Like it was like that was poetic justice. I was like, yes, 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 delicious. I kind of wish that the world had more context though as to like what the hell went on and stuff like that. And they actually showed that yeah, Homelander actually has been a fraud this whole time. That would have made perfect sense though. Elon Musk finale episode. I don't blame him. Oh, hated the finale. My bad. Frenchie had dating a guy who was killing his guy family. So Frenchie dating his victim. Yeah, yeah, that was pretty stupid. Yeah, like that was. Colin Heiser, that one in the season 3, that Frenchie had feelings for the guy who murdered his family. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, Frenchie murdered his family and stuff like that because I think Frenchie did work with like what the CIA, and that's how he met Butcher and Marvin and stuff like that. But yeah, yeah, but that's pretty much the boys and stuff, and then Huey taking out Butcher and stuff. That also, well, yeah, yeah, that was well done and stuff. I like that scene too and whatnot. Huey really showed, he really put in a lot of work in these episodes, or at least in that last episode. He definitely did put in that work against O Father and stuff, and he put in that work against Butcher and stuff like that, where he was like, all right, I got to take you down and stuff because you're about to genocide all these people and stuff like that. Soups or not, More questions about the boys? Yeah, feel free to ask me about questions about the boys. I don't mind. I'm very, lenient, or I'm very loose with that kind of thing. But yeah, but I'm just about finished talking about the boys though. So let's see. Talked about the boys. I got my own checklist about things I wanted to talk about tonight. Hey, Dr. Hino, if you're still there, try to comment and stuff. I got a little bit of a surprise I want to show you. No homo. But yeah, leave a comment if you're still there. I actually have something that I just did that you're gonna probably like. But anyways, let's see. So, like I said earlier, hang on. Taylor got some more questions. Sees the picture creators and cast middle fingers. Yeah, they did have that at the end. As Homelander actors was not at the event. Sorry, let me drink my soda to clear my throat. I'm still here. All right, that's good. Let me stop sharing the screen real quick. You're gonna love this. Do do do. I guess now is a good time as ever to show you this. I just did it recently. Tell me what you think. The boys' creator is enjoying Huey's abuse and torture porn. Yeah, yeah, they definitely were back in season 3. But yeah, but check it out. But anyways, let's see what else I got. Talked about Punisher, Warzone. Oh yeah, oof. You're gonna like this, but you're gonna hate what I'm about to talk about next and stuff in this stream though. Devil May Cry season 2. That's what I'm about to talk about next. And just to give you my thoughts about it and whatnot. Yeah, I watched it. I told you before. SSJ told me about it. I can't remember. She's cute, chibi style. Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. Like, yeah, when I do the faces and stuff like that, with just with characters in general, is I always do that little cheek mouth thing. But yeah, I drew your character, his name's Zakaya and stuff. It came out pretty nice. But yeah, yeah, Taylor. Wow, wow, indeed. But yeah, I might draw more of your characters later though. I was thinking about digitally drawing this actually. That's why I have it say or scanned on my computer and stuff. I did it well apparently 10 days ago. But yeah. So I was doing some digital drawings and stuff. But I'll do yours digitally drawing next and stuff, you know. But yeah. Starlight being a systematic being a SA survivor taking Huey very seriously. She can be a bitch and takes out herself. Yeah. But was it? Oh yeah, Don't Make Cry season 2. Let me get into that real quick. I'm not gonna play the trailer, of course, but I probably won't talk too much about it. I mean, well, I will, but I won't like do like a full on review right now, but just give you my thoughts and put it out there. So season 2 is kind of like a sort of like an amalgamation of like season 3 and Don't Make Cry. I mean, I said season 3. It's like an amalgamation of Don't Make Cry 3 and Don't Make Cry 2. Now, the only good thing I can really say about season 2 of the Netflix Don't Make Cry is I actually like the sort of the portrayal of the villains. That's the only thing I can say that it has going for it. But outside of that, this show is kind of like a sort of like it's like a My Adventures of Superman or kind of like the MCU Spider-Man version of Devil May Cry, you know? So it's kind of like, it's weird, you know? Devil May Cry season 2, more 2000s AMV, old days song. Exactly. Like that's what I was even doing on my, like, that's what I did in my video and stuff where I'm like, all right, they need to use the video game soundtrack. They can't use these like, a lot of these old ass songs. And I love these old ass songs. So I love Bodies. I love Evanescence and stuff like that. But they can't, thank you for the fan art, man. Yeah, no problem. Anytime and stuff, But yeah, I watched DMC season 1. Should I watch season 2? This is my first time with DMC. Well, if you like it, you like it, right? So you should probably check it out. But I will say the only one of the other good things about the Netflix is just it has me already like replaying the games to just go back and be like, all right, well, let me play the games to get a better experience, like to get the experience with Don't Make Cry again, because I'm just like, yeah, like let me go back on this because I gotta make these. I'm making some of these videos talking about Devil May Cry and stuff, like talking about the Netflix Devil May Cry. Andy Shankar, I'm just gonna tell you, Brian, he can't really do it justice and stuff. So I mean, if you like the show, just keep watching it. But I think you'll get more of a better mileage, or a lot of things will make a lot more better sense if you just get like the HD collection of Don't Make Cry. Like I have that. I have 2 versions of that actually. I have one on the Xbox 360, and I bought one last year because the Netflix came out, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I've been longing for old Don't Make Cry stuff. I mean, I have Don't Make Cry 4 and 5 on PS4, but when I found out that HD collection is also on PS4, I'm like, you know what? Let me get that. Because I don't play my Xbox as much anymore, and I don't have it where I'm at. It's over my mom's house. So I'm like, all right, well, and since I have my PS4 with me, I'm like, let me get the PS4 version. So today, actually, I just beat Devil May Cry 3 on the PS4, or that version and stuff. I've beaten Devil May Cry 3 before, but it's been a while since I played it, but I just beat it and stuff. That was pretty fun. Took me like what 3 days and stuff tops to beat it. So I enjoyed it. And I was actually playing Sonic and Mega Man X at the not at the same time, but around this time, and I was like, yeah, let me take a break on that and play some Devil May Cry, because I'm going to need some footage for my videos when I like break this down and whatnot, you know. So I'm gonna definitely, yeah, and I also want to like recap and just refresh my mind about like a lot of the stuff that happened inside those events and whatnot, just for old time's sake. But anyways, Don't Make Cry anime, Netflix taking ideas like an edgy, like yeah, they played Green Day, that dumbass song in that finale. That was pretty dumb. Andy Shankar is a fake. Oh yeah, you don't even got to tell me. I know he's a fake ass Devil May Cry fan and a fake emo goth boy. I need to buy the 2000s anime. Yeah, that would be pretty cool though. They probably should have played that song too in this show. Actually, not for the intro, but just they should have used it for one of the scenes. I think that would have also been pretty cool too. But yeah, I heard Capcom would do a remake of the first three Devil May Crys. That would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting to see how that turns out. I don't know if Devil May Cry. Well, they're gonna just do it anyways. I mean, they did remakes of Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what's gonna stop them from doing a remake of, excuse me, Devil May Cry 3? Because Devil May Cry 3 is like the Resident Evil 4 of the Devil May Cry, franchise, where a lot of fans love that game, and I love the game too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, but it would be interesting, I guess, for an updated Devil May Cry 1 and 2. But yeah. The fun fact: Devil May Cry 1 released in October 17th, 2001. Yep. Season 3 is coming. Hope not. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it, but I want to see what they do with season 3, because I'm like, you know what? I wonder. I want to stay on this train wreck and just see how exactly are they gonna fuck this up. That's how I feel. Because I'm like, what they should have done in the post credits, because in the ending of season 2, after they defeated like Arius and stuff, and they kind of ended things off on like kind of like how Virgil had like fought Mundus at the end of Devil May Cry 3, and it left off on that cliffhanger. But we all know obviously Virgil lost to Mundus, because that's Mundus and stuff. And Virgil doesn't have the Sparta blade to defeat him, so clearly he lost. But I'm just saying though, what they should have included inside Devil May Cry in the Netflix season 2 ending, they should have included like a post-credit scene of like Nero, like a baby Nero and stuff like that, because it's kind of weird. Because I'm like, yeah, and I wanted to talk about that in the video, but it's kind of weird because they just ended things off like, oh, okay, well, Virgil was being raised and groomed by Mundus his whole life, and he wasn't brainwashed, mind you. I know you're not watching Dr. Dino, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. Virgil is working with Mundus willingly. His mom's killer, right? But he doesn't know, because Mundus took him in and lied to him and told him that it was actually Arius who did it, who killed. He sent demons with his branding of Ouroboros after Dante's family to kind of manipulate Virgil somehow or whatever. I don't know. The whole plan kind of seems convoluted and stuff. It's a little interesting, I will say that, to a degree, but I'm just like, but you're kind of, putting a lot of like, I don't know, like bets on this one plan, not like falling apart, instead of just straight up brainwashing Virgil like how you did inside Devil May Cry 1, which you like, encountered him and like mutated him and all this other stuff. So, but whatever, right? But anyways, Mundus, Virgil, Devil May Cry. But I'm just saying, like, why not have like a baby Nero kind of show? I think that would have been like a cool little cliffhanger and stuff, and also like, show Trish and stuff, because yeah, yeah, if you're gonna like, yeah, keep doing this and whatnot, you're gonna need Dante's partner Trish and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm looking at Eva and stuff. I'm going to myself like, man, I wonder how they're gonna have Trish like in this show. but they'll probably have her like cuck Dante or some bullshit and stuff like they did with Lady, which I really hope not and stuff because Lady was a pretty damn good character and stuff, and they did all this dumb shit with her. Like, let me go back to this tab right here because she's wearing this outfit where she's in the military or whatever in Darkcom, and I'm like, Lady's not military though, you know. She's supposed to be wearing more like loose fitting kind of clothes in a way where like her Don't Make Cry 3 self, Lady's kind of still like sort of a teenager because I think she's like 17 or so, and it's kind of like looks almost like a schoolgirl outfit in some ways. So that's what it's supposed to look like. I'm like, why is she wearing that? Since it's supposed to be based off of Don't Make Cry 3 and stuff, why isn't she fighting with the weapons that she's supposed to be fighting with? Because she has like what Uzis, handguns, her Catalan and rocket launcher with the little blade at the end and stuff like that. Like, why does she not have any of that stuff? But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, of course, she gets the Catalan and later on at the end of this whole thing, and I guess she ditches the military get up and armor look and stuff like that. But still, I'm like, all right. And then they added in another outfit for Lady and stuff, and it kind of makes her hair look a lot shorter. And I'm like, Lady's hair is not that damn short. Like, look, I mean, she has short hair, but it's more so like in a bob cut kind of thing, more so than a like this butch looking, like, you know what I mean? Like, nah. Andy Shankar is went turned Don't Make Cry about his experience in post edgy 9/11 in a war on terror. Yeah, that's what it seemed like. And this man really thought that he could revive the Don't Make Cry franchise and stuff, and was jealous of Don't Make Cry 5 for doing that. Like, okay, sure. The chibi of Lady and Dante to JoJo scenes. Yeah, that was a little weird, but oh well. But yeah, season 2. But like I said, I like the villains though, at least. I mean, Virgil, yeah, I don't know what the hell they did with Virgil there. And stuff. They kind of made Virgil like some kind of berserker and stuff. And I'm like, Virgil is a little bit more unhinged than he normally is. Like Virgil is supposed to be more calm and calculating. And there are rare times where Virgil loses like his like where he does lose his cool, and that's usually against Dante or something when Dante does something to aggravate him or whatever and stuff like that, or hinders his plans or whatever. You know what I mean? But Virgil usually is very calm, calculating, and all that other type of stuff. And even precise because that's his fighting style. He always fights very like with precision and speed compared to Dante, where Dante, Dante, he has the moves, he has the skills. He's more so like more raw power and more like brute force compared to like Virgil, who's a little more precise and calculating and stuff like that. Like Dante has a wild style, whereas Virgil has a more, and that probably goes with their colors too, because Dante wears red and Virgil wears blue. So, night and day difference. But it's whatever with that. So when he was going up against those troops and stuff, I'm like, bro, how the hell are these tasers even fucking touching Virgil of all people? Like Virgil would like literally cut this shit up the minute before. Like he should still be in like sort of like a not even in a fighting stance, but like that stance where he like has his sword on the ground or some shit or whatever, or maybe before he can like like he before he sheaves his sword or whatever, or unsheaves his sword or whatever, he should have that shit cut up in like in nanoseconds. Like that's how fast Virgil is. It's like weird. Andy Shankar is a fraud. Yes, he is. And I saw like not on YouTube. I think I saw somebody that said that Andy Shankar probably only saw like a few cutscenes of Devil May Cry. I bet. Yeah, he probably just saw Devil May Cry 3. Probably not 4. He probably skipped the hell out of 4. Devil May Cry 3 and probably Devil May Cry 5. He probably just played or watched the cutscenes from that and was like, I know Devil May Cry. Bullshit. 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 Okay? Bodies hit the floor. Scene of Virgil fighting against the military. Exactly. Like, why would you play that song? But anyways, I guess I could probably go to that now and I guess break that down. I probably wanted to talk about other things first, but let me go to this right here. But yeah. Any Shankar don't know however anime and especially animation works. Nope. I mean, but I will say though, the fights were pretty good though. Don't get me wrong, it was a cool fight, but it's just like, yeah, but still, it's like that's not an appropriate song to really use in that moment though. I mean, for a V, sure, but yeah. Let me play this.
How's it going, everybody? It is the Kage Low Foxes, my show where I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles.
Like,
And today, I'm here to talk a little bit about Devil May Cry. Yep, that's right. So, here's the thing: I won't be doing a full-on review of the Netflix season 2 of Devil May Cry, but I will be kind of breaking down, I guess, certain videos. So this will be the first of a couple of videos that I'm about to do about season 2 of the Netflix Devil May Cry, just to give you my thoughts and stuff and put it out there, just because. Obviously, it did not exactly improve my opinion about season 1, where I was like, okay, it could have been better. And then that ending just, I don't know, it just killed me. And I was like, you know what, forget it. The show deserves all the backlash it gets, and I still feel the same type of way. But I will give it credit in some regards. You know, there are
the scene of David's granddaughter scene with Dante and Mary hanging around. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't really hate it all that much. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought it was okay, but um, there was a stupid scene where Dante was dressed up as like Chun Li, and I'm like, it probably would have made a lot more sense if he dressed up as like I don't know Ken Masters, because Ruben Langdon had also voiced. I mean, I know he's not voicing Dante in this version; it's voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, but it probably would have made better sense if he dressed up as Ken. You know what I mean? Because Ruben Langdon voiced Dante and he voiced Ken, and Dante, well, he does kind of like look to a degree like Ken, or has a little bit of a similar kind of personality style in a way. But anyways, let me keep playing this.
some areas that I'm actually like, all right, well, that's not half bad or whatever. But in this video in particular, I kind of wanted to talk about the music actually of this season, because it's just like, yeah, it's weird. Now I know in the last season they actually did play some actual music from like actual bands, or like actual like musicians and stuff like that. Well, video game and anime and all that stuff, it does have actual musicians too, but you know what I'm saying. Like that wasn't designed specifically for like anime or video games and stuff. They had stuff like Papa Roach and all that in the last season. Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Stuff like
Suffocation, no breathing, don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding. This is my last resort.
vacation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding. That song, and then
Hey, there's not a lot of songs I can memorize like that entirely, and I wouldn't say I have this whole song memorized, but I that's just goes to show you how much I like listen to the song a lot. Like hell, I've listened to the Sonic Heroes intro so many times. I've pretty much memorized most of the lyrics, like what goes up and must come down, yet my feet don't touch the ground. Seeing the world spinning upside down, a mighty crash without a sound. I can feel your every rage. Step aside, I'll turn the page. Breaking through your crazy maze like a laser beam. My eyes on you. Watch me save the world, save the day. Watch me rule the night away. Or no, I said that backwards. Watch me roll the night away. Watch me save the day. Feel my storm is coming, headed your way. Sonic Heroes, Sonic Heroes. All right, I know you guys didn't come here to hear my singing.
and yeah. So they had a few songs in here. Some I kind of noticed like "My Immortal" by Evanescence and stuff. I remember they played that back in the 2003 Daredevil with Daredevil and Elektra. And it was it was a pretty nice song, but I wouldn't have preferred it here, to be honest. And I know they played "Bodies" and stuff. I think it was by Drowning Pool. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the yeah.
Skin to skin, blood and bone. You, all right, I'm not doing this. Sorry.
Yeah. And look, I like those songs and stuff, but I don't think it really fits here
One,
in the
nothing
context or
wrong with me.
whatever. They
Two,
played it when
nothing wrong
Virgil
with me.
was
One,
fighting
something's
a
got
bunch of
to give.
troops and stuff
Two,
from
something's got to
Darkcom, and
give.
I was like,
Three, something's
that
got to give.
doesn't fit
Now,
Virgil's thing though,
let
or
the
the way how
bodies
Virgil
hit
was
the
like,
floor. Let the bodies hit
like
the
his
floor.
personality spoke. But again, I'll say that for another video. But anyways, I'm gonna probably like put some screenshots up and then play some because I feel like they should have used more of the video game.
And I forgot to mention in this video, they also played this song that Dante is playing right now for his first mission against his fight against the Arias Argo Sax fusion, and I'm just like going to myself like, um, why would you play that song? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad song. It's a good song. I do like it. I would probably listen to it, but that's not a song that you play for a final boss type of character. That's kind of like a song you play for a first mission, which is this is exactly what this is a first mission. And Don't Make Cry announcer voice, cringe. Yep, you get stylish points for that.
music of Devil May Cry, and they did use some themes. Like they used some themes from like between a little bit of Devil May Cry 4. They played Never Surrender, which I feel like they probably should have played that with the Dante and Lady stuff. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the relationship in that universe, but I'm just saying if you really wanted to kind of like play like a love song, that probably would have been the song, which is kind of ironic too because that's a song between Nero and Kyrie, and Johnny Bosch voices Dante and stuff, but it's whatever. Or like what else? What are some other things?
Grinder is
Don't get me wrong, I will list some stuff.
yeah.
They played what songs did they play? Never Surrender. They played I think they played Double Trigger and stuff, which is a dope.
Yeah, they played some songs. I can't remember if they played Double Trigger in this season. They played it in the last season though. That's for damn sure. But
May Fry 5 theme, and they play. Of course, they keep blasting the storm that is approaching.
should bury the light.
Bury the light. Virgil's
Everybody's
theme,
favorite damn song.
which a lot of fans kind of like. It doesn't kind of make sense in this context because I mean, for Devil May Cry 5, Virgil's characterization, yeah, it made a lot of sense. But for a Devil May Cry,
And you can see in this video how many fucking themes of Virgil that I found or I can play that would fit more better in this context or works for his character, you know?
3 to like maybe one Virgil, it doesn't make any sense in this context. So I'm gonna just upload some of that stuff and tell me down below what you guys think of what like Don't Make Cry songs should they have used in certain scenes. But yeah.
All right, so if you remember Devil May Cry 3, and you remember like once you like play the special edition, you play like Virgil and stuff, and like Virgil's prologue is like where he cuts out those like those satanic devilish looking devils with the tails and the horns and stuff. They got the white and the the dark red, like the bloodshot red skin or whatever. Yeah, I think they should have like went with this song. This song sounds well, not song, but it's a little theme thing or whatever. They should have probably gone with that against him versus the troops. I can't show clips because well those are clips, but let me keep playing. I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of trying to figure out what would be because I would play 4 songs for each scene that I thought would probably go better with this, with a lot of like with all these scenes. But yeah, 12 Cursed Giants. This is from Devil May Cry 2. I think this is usually when you fight like those big ass like enemies and stuff that look like the demonic goat looking things that Arias can summon and stuff like that. Yeah, I think this would have fit better since this is based off of Devil May Cry 2. You're dealing with Arias and versus fighting these troops and stuff like that. I like Devil May Cry 2 more than Devil May Cry 3. I ain't gonna lie to you, Dr. Gill. I definitely do have a soft spot for Devil May Cry 2 because I feel like Devil May Cry 2, and originally it was supposed to be kind of the last game chronologically before Devil May Cry 5 had kind of retconned it. But I kind of liked how in Devil May Cry 2 that Dante is a little bit more like mature and stuff like that. I know he's not as talkative as like in the other versions, but he's a little bit more like the most mature and the most like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I kind of liked a lot of the combinations with the sci-fi demonic element to it. I thought that was pretty cool. this is Virgil's theme from Devil May Cry 4. Let's Just See, which is kind of like a remix of like Virgil's boss fight theme from Devil May Cry 3 when he fought Dante and stuff in the finale. But yeah, I'm a Devil May Cry 1 and then Devil May Cry 3 as well. Yeah, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love Devil May Cry 3, and it does have really great gameplay and stuff. But I kind of feel like I don't know, like Devil May Cry 1 to me might be my favorite personally. But yeah. Tell me the scene would not go hard if Virgil was like fighting the troops and stuff, and this theme was playing in the background. Thoughts on Kai, um, the Kai fighters in season 2, and the fight in Lucan's house scene. Um, like I said, and I think I've kind of told Dr. Hino this one, sort of like on one of his live streams. I really, really want them to bring back Lucia. Okay, I really want them to bring back Lucia and stuff. I mean, I low key kind of do ship Lucia with Dante, but it's not because of shipping. I just like Lucia as a character. And that's kind of crazy as hell. Like, damn, they can bring everybody else back, but they can't bring back freaking Lucia, even in Devil May Cry 5. Like, don't like. And I love, don't get me wrong, I like Devil May Cry. I like all the Devil May Cries. Okay, I do. I like Devil May Cry 4, even. I like Devil May Cry 5, all that shit. Okay, I'm like, how the hell in Devil May Cry 5, all this stuff is going on? You can bring back all these damn characters. You can bring back, of course, Dante, Nero, Virgil, Trish, Lady. You can bring them all back, but you can't bring back Lucia. And Lucia just gets a cameo in the comics. Are you kidding me? Like, yo, what the hell? So, but yeah, so I kind of wanted, and I know Lucia sort of made a cameo in like the first season, and then in this season with Arius and stuff, they have like the Kais, or really they're mannequins. That's what they're supposed to be called. They're mannequins and whatnot, which are Lucia's sisters and whatnot. So yeah, they were okay. I kind of wish that they would have went with the I don't like the short hair look though that they had for the mannequins. I can't remember if that's what the mannequins had looked like in the game to a degree. Like, I mean, the outfit's definitely down packed, but I wish they would have gone with the hairstyle that first mannequin that like talked to Virgil in the start of the season. I wish they would have went with that hairstyle because that kind of look. I ain't gonna lie, that kind of look kind of cute in my opinion though. But yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, Lucia is like the Sheva of the goddamn Devil May Cry franchise. Like, damn, where the hell is Sheva at? Where all this stuff is going on? Oh yes, where's the bleach when you need it? Let me quit playing. So, look, I'm not a huge fan of this whole Dante and Lady thing in this show. I'm not really a huge fan of it like that in the games. I mean, look, if I feel like it's kind of left to your interpretation on whether or not you think Dante and Lady should be together or not. It is what it is. I already said before, I'm Team Lucia on this one, or possibly Cindy and stuff. I could like. I just worked on a little bit of my audio for my next video coming up, which is a Devil May Cry video. But I was kind of saying, like, damn, like, if anything, I really think Dante should have got with Cindy or maybe Lucia. Cindy, I forgot all about her, but she was from that Devil May Cry anime and stuff where she made like Dante strawberry sundaes and stuff like that. But yeah, so dumb. Yes, it was. Well, you're definitely gonna hate the damn execution. I ship Lucia and Dante. They make more sense, and they do understand exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, Lucia, needs to be loved instead to Dante. Yeah. But and I hate how her damn hairstyle is short. Like she doesn't look like a boy, but it's just like but it's boyish. I'm like, it's supposed to be a bob cut. Like, what the hell? Like, Beyonce can have fucking long hair, but lady can't. Okay, that scene that Mary really injured that wing piece. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. My bad. I wasn't commentating. So I think this would like some of these songs. Like, okay, if you're gonna do this, like, because they play Evanescence, "My Immortal," in this scene, and I'm like, and look, don't get me wrong, I do like that song too. I do like that song. I was even saying like I remember that song from Daredevil 2003. You know how much I love the Daredevil 2003 movie. That I remember a lot of the soundtracks in there. But yeah, "My Immortal," they played that when like where Matt Murdock was at Electra's Nachios' dad's funeral and stuff, and he was telling her just to stay with me and stuff like that before Electra had fell down that rabbit hole of vengeance and stuff like that, and wanted to go after well, no, she wanted to go after Daredevil, but because she thought he killed her and stuff like that, but it was really Bullseye and blase blase. But anywho, that's the song that they had played, and it was fine there, but it just doesn't work here. But I'm just saying, why not use Eva's theme and stuff? I think that sounds like a good kind of like love music or whatever. Tomboy haircut that doesn't fit DMC. Yeah, yeah, it doesn't. Mary should have died on the statue dudes of Yeah, yeah, that was yeah, hella plot armor. And then they had a device that kind of revived her too. So I mean, it is what it is, and they try to use that to kind of explain that's how she got the scar on her face. Like on the bridge of her nose and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
Okay, great. Where's
You guys should know this scene. I mean, know this theme if you played the Devil May Cry 1 game, the end credits.
the place? We'll be right there. This one has the password. Sounds heavy.
Okay, let's get it over with in 10 minutes. You can't let a single one of those suckers live.
5 minutes.
More than enough.
More than enough.
Yeah. And then Eva's theme was supposed to play after that. Well, I mean, I arranged it, but I'm saying like in the actual Seasons of Love staff role, like they play Eva's theme and stuff like that after that and stuff like that. But still, it works out. It works out. I mean, either one would have worked, in my opinion. It would have made a pretty good love kind of like, song or whatever. And I played Statue of Time, which I know you're probably wondering, well, does that even fit here? But I feel like, Dr. I know damn well you've not watched this Netflix Devil May Cry, but I'm going to just spoil it for you anyways. So as you can see, Dante and Lady are about to have a love scene together. But yeah, they have a love scene together. And I'm like, again, I don't think they play some kind of obnoxious or some kind of like weird ass theme or whatever, but I'm just saying if they're going to play a sex scene or something like that, or well, a love scene between them or whatever, I think this probably would have been suitable Statues of Time because it's very slow and very kind of dramatic and like kind of gothic too. So I kind of like that. Very, feeling very like, relaxing. I'm so surprised I did not get because that's why I put up these whatchamacallits, because if I did copyright strike, I would at least like, all right, well, if I had to take out the music, what I'm referring to in this scene.
Against those that are damned,
We show no mercy,
we show no
We have
mercy.
none.
for we have none.
Which is ironic too, because Dante and like Dante's again voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, Nero. Oh, you'd be like, lady, cutie. I'm just playing. Gosh, I love that save thing. Yeah, yeah.
We have none.
Our enemies shall fall.
Our enemies
Enemies shall
All right. So just to kind of put this a little bit into some context, so Dante and Virgil are about to team up to fight the Arius fused Argosex and stuff, and Dante's having this memory about his mom and stuff like that before he goes into like his double trigger form and whatnot. And I thought, because they played the Devil May Cry, like I just said, they just played the mission start one from like Devil May Cry 3, and I think Devils Never Cry would like that's the main theme from Devil May Cry 3. I think this song would have definitely have fitted that scene better than what they had played and stuff. Even like up to the fight with like Argosex and stuff, like this memory and then the fight with Argosex would have been perfect. And then when Dante shoots the jukebox and stuff, and it like starts pumping like this. For a second chance, she will never become my man. That was yeah, this is what they should have played when Dante cut that. And him and Virgil teamed up. And then this is them teaming up. And then Divine Hate, this is what they also should have played too. But I love you, boy. I heard this song when I was playing the Devil May Cry HD collection, and like I let the intro, for the HD collection, shit went hard. This shit is hard. Steal soul for a second chance. And yeah, this could have worked too. Public Enemy. That definitely would have been perfect. But again, Andy Shankar don't know shit about Devil May Cry or the themes. This is all artist section. But after that, I heard it will be and they showed him at first. Rock and Load, this is Dante's theme from Devil May Cry 3. Let me see what Dr. Neil said. Lock and load, baby. Yep. I miss when Devil May Cry was creepy and full of action. Had a blend better horror than Resident Evil 4. Yeah, like it was like unnerving sometimes with Devil May Cry. I mean, if you ask me, Resident Evil is definitely a lot more creepier because like they don't have like specialized powers and they're just like regular people in these environments and stuff, like thrown in these crazy ass situations. But Dante, he's got the powers and stuff like that, and he's got the confidence and like the strength to like overpower most of his enemies and stuff. But there was still a creepy aspect to it, though. There was still a And of course, with so this is like one of the last fights between Dante and Virgil versus Mundus, and then this also kind of turned into a fight between Dante and Virgil. I think this also would have been better, to play like when Dante and Virgil find like Mundus's army, and then they start fighting each other and stuff like that. This would have definitely went perfect. This is Griffin's theme, from that boss fight when he first appears. Are you the son of Sparta? Fuck off, Featherface. Stick around and find out the hard way. only seems like doing it all. Like, they're like paragraph between those three. He was like, yeah, I didn't play the game. I heard people talk about it. They're like, he said it's locked off, but it's just to be able to turn off the power all that good stuff. Again, tell me this and then this is Phantom's theme. If you remember Phantom, the lava spider scorpion thing or whatever that Dante fought. It was like one of the first boss fights in Devil May Cry 1. This also would have worked too. And that makes sense because, again, these are minions of Mundus and stuff, you know? So let me play this. Now, I was trying to figure out another theme I could use. I was thinking about using Navon's theme from Devil May Cry 3, but I'm like, I don't know. It just doesn't. I was like, I don't know if it works in this scenario. That was what I was originally going to use, but I kind of changed my mind. I was like, you know what? Maybe this will probably be better. So I found, I remember this theme because I played Devil May Cry 1 last year and stuff, where, there was a scene, like, of course, towards the end of the game, you're in, the demon world, you're in hell, the underworld, whatever, and stuff like that. You remember how that shit looked like a damn. Speaking about like creepy and stuff, remember how like Dargino, you were just saying like, yeah, like hell looks like a literally like the inside of somebody's body, like hearts and everything, intestines, all that stuff. It was weird, or like some kind of respiratory system. He was a secret fight in Devil May Cry 2. Wait, who? Oh, well, okay, that's crazy. Oh yeah. Probably Griffin or Phantom. Yeah, because I remember in Devil May Cry 2. Well, I didn't know it was a secret fight. I'm not gonna lie, that's news to me. But I do remember that is a strong possibility though, because I remember Argosax, whenever he in his first form in that fight, holy shit. But in that first form, he's got the bodies or the pieces of like all those demon and creatures and stuff like Griffin, Phantom, and previous other bosses and stuff that he fought between Devil May Cry 1 and 2. That shit was, well, holy shit, that was creepy as hell. But the underworld, I feel like this is the final penetration where like right before you fight Mundus, or like that stage before you fight Mundus and stuff. I think this is what that theme is. But this is Virgil fighting Mundus and stuff before it ends up on that cliffhanger. I think this would work pretty well during that whole. I was like, man, that must be the reason. To be thinking about all this, how it fit in these contexts. Oh no, this is. Yeah, that's what I probably changed out for the with the Nevin thing, Arkham's final battle, because Dante and Virgil were fighting together, and it just makes sense. And look at you, still in my spotlight. Well, you don't possibly use that. You have to think about it. You're right. You should come to know that. You can't come with it's like you on the phone. No! And yeah, I was just like, Really, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the Cowboys so much. You might actually good one. And don't get me wrong, I do love the Cowboys. I like the Cowboys. You know, a lot of people up until the end, sort of, but you know. Mundus is pretty awesome. I mean, I know he's a very simple villain, but Mundus, man, that man is evil. And I'm like, just thinking about it, like that's got to be some crazy troll shit that he had to like. This man like literally created Trish to kind of fuck with Dante and stuff to like mess with him mentally. Like, man, that's crazy. They literally could have followed the games exactly. But I mean, like I might have a different take on that, Doctor Hino. I'm not against different interpretations sometimes or trying out, but really Don't Make Cry, they really could have expanded more with the show on some of these things. You know, like why couldn't you have some flashbacks of Sparta and stuff like that? I mean, they did, but I mean, like more flashbacks of Sparta to kind of give us more context to certain things. You know, they literally had Nell Goldstein in this season, but they kind of like they didn't really do nothing with her because I would have loved to see her interaction with Dante on the screen. You know, because and I was just saying this in my video, not this video, but the next video I have coming up about Don't Make Cry, where I was like, why didn't they just like do something with Dante's relationship with Nell Goldstein? Because Nell and Dante, Nell's kind of like Dante's surrogate mom in a way, right? And she does actually kind of resemble Eva and stuff. Because I was reading that in the Don't Make Cry novel and stuff, where like Nell, like her and Dante have a close relationship and stuff, like a close, like that of a surrogate son and a surrogate mom and whatnot. And like she like literally died in like Dante's arms and stuff right before giving him um I like Ebony and Ivory, his twin pistols and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, I would have loved to see kind of more of that, more so than this weird ass relationship between Dante and Lady. And on top of that, Lady's kind of a bitch in the show. So it's like, yeah, so why would I want to support that? Yes, expend more on the games. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many open ended things or some uncharted things that could have been explored inside Don't Make Cry. Because, I mean, Don't Make Cry is very, sometimes with some things, they can be a little bit vague, which I'm not against, but sometimes it's kind of like, well, I want kind of a little bit more of an explanation here to a degree, or I'm just saying, like, it really could have worked out. But it is what it is. I mean, like I said, there are some things that there is to like about this show. Like I like the fights. That's all right. But you can easily watch that on YouTube or something. Um, yeah. I like the villains. The villains are okay in this show. Like, I mean, I thought the White Rabbit, I thought he was a pretty good villain in the first season. I just didn't like how they were like, oh, well, the White Rabbit's actually a human and stuff. That's like that actually is sympathetic towards demons or some shit. I don't know. It's like he got lost when he was a kid into the demon world and then he befriended demons and stuff like it was. That was like, what? I mean, I ain't gonna lie though, his designs were cool though, even as a human where he had the little thing on and stuff like that. Shit looked kind of creepy. I'm not gonna lie to you, but still, like yeah. And then here, Arius is kind of the main villain, sort of, and as well as Mundus to a degree. And Arius is trying to do that thing that he did with Don't Make Cry too, where he's trying to like, um, you know, resurrect Argosax so he can fuse with him, so he can become a god and all that stuff. And his plan actually does kind of succeed actually in this version because in the game his fusion with Argosax was incomplete, so he only took on like a portion of his power or something like that. And Lucia was the one to defeat him, whereas Dante defeated Argosax while he was in hell and whatnot. So yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna talk more about that in a different video. But yeah, that's pretty much my talk about Don't Make Cry. Let me take a break real quick. I'll be right back, guys. So don't go anywhere, or you can go anywhere. I don't really care. But I definitely do appreciate your company, though. Bring back some levels too from the games. Yeah, yeah, that would be awesome. They could bring back some levels and stuff like that. But yeah, The finale of Don't Make Cry of insulting of Dante battle. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. I mean, it kind of made sense because Dante, he's not at that level where he can fight Mundus yet, and obviously neither is Virgil. Even if they both team up, they really can't beat what's his face Mundus uh, at the level that they are, and at that point in the series, or they shouldn't be. So it only makes sense, that they ended things they did, sort of. But I just kind of like wanted like yeah. So I'm going to watch the playthroughs of the games. Should I stop at a particular game or just watch all of them? Well, Brian, I recommend you play the games. Don't. Yeah. I mean, but hey, to each to your own. I mean, if you like it, like if you do like the show, then go ahead and watch it and stuff. I just don't think it really like lives up to the games, though, in my personal opinion. Or if you know the games, like if you know like what how things are gonna play out and stuff, the show isn't really a good like isn't doing a good job at like keeping things a little bit discreet. So they'll be like they'll how do I put this? They will definitely jump and like just straight up just like tell you outright, oh, this is so and so or whatever and stuff like that. And it's like what? So I don't know. Yeah, like I don't know. They ruined the jackpot dialogue. I don't know about that. It was all right. I mean, it always seems like out of nowhere when Dante does, he says jackpot and stuff like that, like the right timing at the right moment. But yeah, I can't say it's like the same for this show, but it's all right. But yeah, definitely, Brian, play the game, like play the games. If you have a PS4 or something like that, because I have a PS4, you can definitely get the HD collection, or you can get Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, or Devil May Cry 5 itself, the Special Edition and stuff. Like they are available and stuff. But yeah, you'll definitely love, yeah, definitely love playing it. Devil May Cry is like one of the best hack and slash games I've played and stuff. It's kind of like it's up there with like God of War, Bayonetta, like all that stuff. Ninja Gaiden. That's like where it's comparable to. But yeah, and then the story is really great. So yeah, not like well, it's not well, it's deep, but it's like it's the right kind of balance, if you know what I mean. Let me go back to. All right, I'm gonna go back to this. I'm about to go back to my homepage. All right, so now that I covered that, I kind of wanted to talk about the Rock Lee thing. If you guys still have any questions about Don't Make Cry, feel free to ask and stuff. But let me play this.
In the Naruto series, Rock Lee is one of the most universally loved characters. Lee is one of the most underdog characters born without the ability.
Oh, what was that? Gloria should have been her own character. Yeah, that would have been cool too. Like I remember you saying that because all of a sudden I was thinking about a few days ago about like actually no, not a few days ago. I was just thinking about like Trish earlier because I was writing about her and thinking about the whole Gloria thing. But yeah,
To mold.
or like Trish doesn't really have like a double trigger form, but the Gloria design is kind of like her sort of double trigger form in Devil May Cry 4. But outside of that, not so much.
Ninjutsu or genjutsu, but thanks to his master Might Guy, who suffers the same problem as he does, became a taijutsu master. A lot of fans kind of consider Lee to be more of an underdog than the main.
Lee still to this day sucks. Damn. Lee doesn't suck, but it's just like, damn. Like, okay. The first part of Naruto, Lee was such a great character. Or he was such a I mean, he still is a very loved character, but that was thanks to the goodwill of part one of Naruto. But then after that, like they kind of like neglected Lee, or he fell to the wayside. Like, damn, what the hell, Lee? What the hell, man? Why aren't you relevant? Why can't you? You know what I mean? But that's all in the writing and stuff like that. So that kind of sucks. So I kind of like I have a few Naruto video ideas I'm gonna do, and talking about Lee needs to make a comeback ASAP is like one of those videos that I just did. Next up, I might do a video probably talking about Sai, or I might talk about Himawari and stuff, and just talk about like, I never saw the reason to like him. Damn, Dr. Ito. I mean, he was like like Lee was. He's like an underdog, much like Naruto, in a way. I gotta go get that. Those are my fries. I'll be right back. Let me All right, I'm back. Sorry, I had to grip my fries. I like Mike Guy more than Lee. Yeah, I mean, you know me. I like Lee more so than Guy because but Guy's cool too.
Main character himself, Naruto, given how handicapped that he is
Crazy
by
as hell. He
comparison.
stole fucking Lee's moment.
And this has likely inspired characters in the current
He's
generation
modern,
like
like,
Deku from My Hero Academia or
Lee,
Pasta from
this
Black
dude's
Clover,
faster than Master.
where they weren't born into the power system naturally, but they went through intense physical training to kind of make up for their lack of power. Lee, to me, is the second best Bruce Lee inspired.
Sorry, I paused it because I'm eating this fry. So I'm not gonna be going out all out using a whole lot of screenshots because they've been cracking down on a lot of these pirated anime sites. So I'm just using stuff so I found this off of YouTube and stuff like a clip and decided to use it for this video. And went out, that's what I, gathered. So I guess it's a little bit of baggage off my part when making some of these videos and stuff, but still I always like to show like context or statements and stuff. Oh, excuse me. To kind of prove my point.
Inspired anime character right after Kenshihiro, but he is severely underutilized since part one. He has had some of the best fights inside classic Naruto, going up against Gaara or Kimimaru. But once we kind of transitioned into Naruto Shippuden, Lee's potential had gotten wasted writing wise. So here you have someone who you can root for, because I remember back in the day during the tuning exams, Lee was like, I was thinking to myself like, man, Lee's going to beat Gaara. He's going to beat Gaara in the tuning exams. Or Hinata's going to beat Neji, or Sakura is going to beat Ino. Yeah, I really didn't have that belief though. I mean, like, come on, like they were showing their backstories. I was like probably like what, 6, 7, around when Naruto came out, or around when these episodes were playing with the shooting exams. So I was like thinking to myself like, oh, how deep these characters were. And now they're going into their backstories and their struggle. And I'm like, yeah, I want to root for them. I think they're going to win. And then they lose. I'm like, fuck. Like Lee lost against Gaara. I was like, ain't no way he was going to win. But when you, like I said in this video, like it makes sense because Gaara is the big bad. So of course Lee's not going to actually beat him. So it's kind of like to kind of set up like, for like Sasuke and Naruto and what they have to deal with later down the line. And then with the Hinata versus Neji, the same thing with like, obviously Naruto is going to be going up against Neji and stuff like that and whatnot. But it's showing you the history between Hinata and Neji and their, the clan, the Hyuga clan. And then Sakura and Ino, like before, like I realized that they were actually friends and stuff. I used to think, oh man, they used to hate each other's guts and stuff because they're always fighting for Sasuke. They're always competing. But and that's the type of friendship right there, obviously. But yeah. Only for none of that to actually happen, no matter how good or how deep those characters' stories were. But I still wanted to kind of see Lee succeed in the long run. Now, if you're familiar with the third Naruto movie, and even Lee didn't have his moment right here. Well, not right here, but in Gaara, like against Gaara. He still should have had more moments later down the line, though. Like, I mean, he has some moments like in the filler stuff. And that's why I keep saying filler really does kind of help out some of these characters and stuff because, some of these characters like Lee, Tenten, Neji, they could probably need it. Like they could probably need it. Like they're decent characters and stuff. But the problem is like, they, they're, small fish in a really big pond of the world of Naruto. So yeah, it kind of just sucks though. I'm going to check out your Mortal Kombat 2 review. Thanks. Yeah, I would probably play it, but I'd be here all night just reviewing it. But I'm not about to do all that right now. But yeah, I appreciate it. Naruto Guardians of the Crescent Moon Kingdom. Lee kind of became sort of a stand-in for Sasuke. It's not a bad, like Mortal Kombat 2 is not a bad movie. Like it's okay. It just, I'm gonna just say, it just subverts your expectations if you haven't seen it. You know what I'm saying? But you'll find out once you see my review. Since this was kind of around the time they had left the village, so I always kind of thought that Lee should have like became the protagonist of Shippuden, and it would have made sense for him to kind of join Team 7. Naruto and the Guardians of the Crescent Moon Kingdom used to be one of my favorite Naruto movies growing up and stuff. And I always thought it was pretty cool with like Naruto, Lee, and Sakura as a trio. And
And that's what I was kind of thinking, like, is Lee going to replace Sasuke or something? Because this obviously takes place after Sasuke left the village. So I'm like, okay, I think that would make a little bit more sense. And so that's what I was kind of going into here and whatnot.
For a bit, especially since Neji had became a Jonin. Like I know we kind of got Sai and Yamato, who I kind of want to talk about more about in the future, but Lee hasn't actually had like
Mainly because I feel like Sai and Yamato are underappreciated. And they are also members of Team 7, just like, you know, how Kakashi and Sasuke are, you know? But I know a lot of people like to go back to like classic Naruto and stuff and be like, oh, it's classic Naruto. But yeah, I mean, but what about Sai and Yamato? Oh, they're pretty interesting characters too.
too many breakout moments in Shippuden where you know him and Team Guy kind of struggled to fight Kasame. He fought a perfect clone of himself, and he fought during the war arc. And what could have been actually a perfect moment of him going up against the Ten Tails, Madara, the most powerful ninja of all time, mind you, was given to his sensei. Or when Neji, his best friend, died, he wasn't really shown going.
Madara, dude who literally has the power of the Sage of Six Paths himself, Hogoromo, and stuff, you know? And my guy did all that damage and all that wet work on Madara, you know, who, you know, Hogoromo, well, Hashirama is the god of Shinobi and stuff, and Madara is his rival. But even in that Ten Tails form, the god of Shinobi himself, Hashirama, was like, I can't beat him. Or he was saying that to Jubito, you know, Obito in his Ten Tails form. He's like, I can't beat him. He's too damn strong.
All out besides just
Or at least
warning him
not
in that
alone.
moment. Now we do kind of get a badass moment where Lee kind of destroyed a meteor that almost destroyed the village in the last. Then kind of going into Boruto, he has a son now, but we kind of still don't like get much of him like that.
I didn't really go much into detail about my thoughts on Metal Lee, but I think they should have made Metal Lee based off of Brandon Lee. So imagine like if you did like Metal Lee, and he'll be like, well, because we haven't seen Metal Lee inside Two Blue Vortex yet. I haven't seen the recent chapter yet because, well, you know, online, but pretty much, I'm not sure if he has appeared yet or not. But I feel like with Metal Lee, what they could do is they could make him like based off of Brandon Lee. You could probably do something like the Crow or something with Metal Lee to kind of make him a little bit more have his own individuality from his dad Rock Lee, who's based off of Bruce Lee. That's just my opinion, though, or just a thought or an idea.
Which is kind of one of the things that I kind of praised about Boruto is that they actually serves as an opportunity to kind of do more with characters who were kind of underutilized back aside Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, but they still haven't had done much with him per se, or they couldn't have given him in his son a filler arc at least. Like I mean I know Lee has a few filler arcs inside Shippuden that's kind of given him better moments than just in the manga and stuff or in part one. And he even has his own show called Rock Lee and his Ninja Palace, which I've never actually watched the show, but I actually played the game. I
Still haven't, but I've played that game though. Naruto SD Powerful Shippuden.
have Naruto Shippuden SD on like 3DS. It's a pretty fun game. It's a little side scroller beat 'em up where you play as like Naruto and Lee. Like yeah, but anyways, but if I could actually salvage Rock Lee's character, here's kind of what I would do. Now, Lee needs his own spin-off novel, like right off the bat. Like outside of like Naruto, Sakura's had a novel, Kakashi's had two novels, Shikamaru's had two novels, Itachi's had two novels, and Sasuke has three novels. And I even think Jiraiya and Gaara each have a novel in Japanese. Now, if they can adapt some of those side plots and novels into like anime adaptations, I don't see why they can't do that for Lee. And I like Shikamaru, but I think Lee would be kind of more interesting to kind of follow as a character. And it's not like they can't tell stories.
Sorry, I'm still eating my fries. But and that's not me shitting on Shikamaru or anything. I do like the character. I think he's a great character. He makes an excellent kind of supporting character. But if I had to choose between who can be a main character and when I mean main character, I mean like the protagonist of a story that I would like to follow between Lee and Shikamaru, I'm gonna go with Lee. Lee definitely needs it. Shikamaru is a great character, but Lee's gonna need it. Like he's definitely gonna need that spotlight because a lot of fans love him. And a lot of fans like Shikamaru too, but Lee is a character that takes a lot more pride in being a ninja, more so than Shikamaru. And he's always training and trying to be the best fighter. So I'm like, yeah, who wouldn't want to like read a story or watch an OVA about that guy? You know,
Stories about him or get a bit creative, what I would do is like have someone kind of challenge Lee, school from like another village since Lee runs a martial arts dojo that's also like kind of well versed in like taijutsu and stuff, or he enters himself and his students into like a tournament, like an old martial arts type movie plot. So Lee can kind of go up on like missions. We can see like how far he's climbed up in the ranks of the ninja world, and we can finally see like get some information about Metal Lee's mom. All those things that can actually be done to kind of progress his character. Even inside Boruto, Two Blue Vortex, like Lee could actually help against Code or Jura in some kind of way. Or another suggestion I've actually been sitting on is like so between the time skip, Sakura could ask Lee to train Sarda formally, since Lee and Sasuke kind of have more of a similar fighting style, and we can see how good like of a mentor that he is, or how he's become than just a background character. And to be honest, Lee should actually be higher up on the total pole of power scaling wise. Not to he shouldn't really be that far behind like Naruto and Sasuke, because canonically he has trained relentlessly, like every day after the war arc, and knowing how.
and like I was saying, like, look, Lee knows that there's a high bar, and there's a pedestal that can be attained. So it's like, yeah, he wouldn't just let, even if Naruto did become the Hokage and Sasuke is kind of like the Shadow Hokage, and he's like Naruto's rival and everything. Lee would still be like training hard enough to kind of measure up and keep up with their level, and also help better protect the Leaf Village. He wouldn't just like, oh, well, Naruto and Sasuke beat me, so I'm just gonna give up. Like, no, even after the war, Lee still trains like crazy, hella crazy. Every day. He even has his son doing it. So I don't see why he can't just why can't he get a little bit of a power boost? Or hell, like I was saying, he could have trained one of the characters. He could have trained Sarada and stuff. I think that would have been an interesting idea, and like Sarada would have been a better taijutsu fighter and stuff, thanks to Lee and whatnot. Like I think Sakura can kind of like set up something with like Lee, be like, hey Lee, I want you to train my daughter Sarada, and Lee's like, okay, I got you. And then because Sarada also has the Sharingan, and the Sharingan's also really good at like copying abilities and stuff like that, or copying movements or whatever. You remember how like Sasuke was copying Lee's movements and kind of making it his own and stuff. Lion's Barrage, all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like with Sarada and stuff, and then on top of having like the Mangekyo Sharingan, God dang. I'm just saying, like, come on.
Like there's other people out there like Madara, Naruto, Sasuke, Shiki, etc. Lee should have more of a motive to reach their level than anything. So I think Lee needs like a few novels, maybe some OVAs, and a possible manga spinoff. And if they can do that with Sasuke, Minato, and even Mirai, Asuma and Kurenai's daughter, they can definitely do that for Lee.
And just a reminder, and look, I'm not hating on Mirai or anything. I think she's an alright character too. Haven't read her manga yet. She has literally 2 volumes of a manga, which is a short story, but still. But Lee can't get anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And then on top of that, that manga got adapted into the anime and stuff. And I'm like, again, you can't do something with Lee? Are you serious? And I think even Kakashi and Gaiwa was a part of her adventure too. So I'm like, okay. But yeah, and then the same thing I was saying with Shikamaru. Shikamaru literally has like 2 novels. One where this is after I think Naruto the Last, or no. This is it's around that era. Yeah. I think it's around that era of Naruto the Last, that's for sure. And then he has a novel that's set in Boruto that is taking place. I think it took place after the movie and stuff, because him and Naruto were like in the Kages were talking about it. and stuff like that, how they saved Naruto and whatnot and defeated Momoshiki and everything. But still, like, yeah, and they were talking about the ramifications and stuff about that and whatnot, and about the ninja tool, which they were like, so you've been holding out on this, Naruto, about this ninja tool? And he's like, look, we all got secrets and stuff like that. I'm sorry, but you know how it is. You can't be too safe than sorry. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, like they have all those novels. Hell, Sasuke has, like, I think 3 novels, if I'm not mistaken, because or at least I've had 3 novels of Sasuke, because he has that what was it, the Sasuke Sunrise novel, where that's set after the Naruto last stuff, where yeah, people from the villages and stuff was disappearing, and Sasuke was investigating that because people were getting turned into like actual human bombs and stuff like that. And then there was another novel where what did Sasuke do? Oh yeah, where Sasuke was trying to save Naruto because Naruto had gotten a sickness and stuff like that. So so Sasuke went to another country where he got himself sent to prison, and him and Sakura had to team up and stuff like that, and took on these dinosaurs and stuff like that. Like that was pretty cool. And then which that was kind of leading up to like Naruto, and well, that was already piggybacking off of Kakashi's novel that he had. But I'm just saying, all these characters get out of these damn novels, but Lee can't have shit. Like, come on. Lee used to be up there. He at one point defeated Naruto and Sasuke and stuff, sort of, Like, yeah, he definitely, even when Sasuke unlocked the Sharingan, he's like, oh, you're in trouble now. And then Lee did that kick up kick, and he was about to hit him with that the primary lotus and stuff until Guy stopped him and was like, Lee, you idiot. Pushed the hell out of him. And everybody's like, what the hell? But yeah. And if they want to like kind of give him a purpose in like the base story itself, instead of just acting like, the Leaf's hands are tied, then they can they can make him into a mentor to like one of the main characters, or use Naruto's like fake death as an opportunity to kind of redeem himself. Kind of like what I said about Anko. Good way of utilizing the old characters. So where I was saying, like, if they wanted to do more with Anko and Boruto and stuff, what I would probably do is like, what if she went to go train with like Orochimaru? In a good way to not make Anko fat anymore. Like, I know it's to kind of show that she aged, but still. Kabuto or something. She's no longer fat anymore. We can probably bring back the curse marks, since people used to like that stuff and whatnot. And a lot of people thought Sasuke kind of, his curse mark stuff was underutilized. You can put all that on Anko and stuff, and then there you go. Same thing with Lee. You can definitely have Lee make a comeback this way. That's just my personal opinion, but tell me down below what you guys think. All right. That's pretty much that video right there. I know I got all this energy, sort of. Must be the Chick-fil-A. All right, let's see. It's like 11:16, so it's not 12:16. But this will probably be bleeding into 12 though. Let's see. I really want to talk about bad writers in this stream and stuff like that. It's been a pretty good stream so far. But, Well, let me see how long this video is. This will be like 20 minutes, but in 20 minutes, I could turn that shit up into 40. The way I'd be talking. All right, I'll probably say this for another stream. Because I kind of wanted to talk about, in particular, Sean James and some of the indie people, and a certain person that I actually had on my channel one time, aka Fish Chozo, and just talk about them real quick and just be like, bro, like, what are these people on and stuff when it comes to like their grind, But yeah, but I guess I'll probably end on this note. I'm gonna probably share the screen with this video. So I talked about this channel before, and I've reacted to his videos before, but this is Pedro Aroja. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so forgive me if I butchered that. But I wanted to watch he does these Sonic animations and stuff. Excuse me, and Pokemon animations, which are pretty cool and whatnot. So I watch them. Usually he has this up by the time of the weekends and whatnot. So yeah, never seen this one before. But I'm gonna watch this one, the Sonic the Amazing Spider-Man.
At University of Phoenix, take one course at a time.
I haven't really watched it, but he just put this out today, so we'll check it out. Haha, Son Amy's spicy. Let me stop. Let me quit playing. All right, let's play. It's just a reminder, I do love the Amazing Spider-Man, movies and stuff. I know a lot of people obviously prefer the Tobey Maguire stuff, but I think Andrew Garfield to me is a better, a better Peter Parker and a better Spider-Man. And honestly, I kind of like the plot with those movies and stuff because it was kind of taking it in an interesting direction. Whereas I'm not saying that Tobey Maguire movies are bad, but it's just very kind of like one note, you know what I mean? Or it's a little bit simple, which is not bad. That's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's all right. Okay. But I kind of liked a lot of the stuff and a lot of the ideas they had cooking with the Amazing Spider-Man like trilogy and stuff. Hell, I even liked Amazing Spider-Man 2. I thought that was also a pretty decent movie, in my personal opinion. I know it was definitely convoluted, a lot of plot lines and stuff like that, and it was really trying to rush to get to a lot of the other stuff that they wanted to do, like a Sinister Six and all that. Which, damn it, we really could have had a Sinister Six, but way before we got into No Way Home and all that stuff. But hey, it is what it is. But let me play this. So it's funny, he kind of based Sonic Boom in the Amazing Spider-Man. So, obviously, what's his face? Sonic is supposed to be Peter. Amy is supposed to be Gwen. I guess the alternative love interest, kind of like how they went with instead of Mary Jane in the whatchamacallit. Because in the other one, they had Sally as Mary Jane and stuff. But here they have Amy as Gwen. Vector apparently is Dr. Connors. I think Scourge was playing Flash Thompson, or that was Scourge. No. Else, sort of like kind of. So that's sort of like to be Amazing Spider-Man. Then he gave him the little Sonic Boom bandana. Vector turning into the loop. I wonder who the kid's gonna be. Oh, business. Oh, little pig. That's that Sunday was 16, by the way. When Thanksgiving instead. Look at this, Jason. Queen Elena in the place of Richard Parker. I was watching the American flag. No, it was supposed to be Harry. And I guess Serge here is supposed to be election. You know what? That's dramatic irony because Serge does have lightning powers, of course, in the name. He's also from that theme is also from Sonic 06. That's that boss theme. Whenever you're fighting like Cerberus or whatever. Let me say this. The Devil May Cry plastic chair scene. Yeah, I was like confused on that one. with the Jester when he just pulled it out of nowhere and stuff. I mean, I didn't realize. Oh yeah, I guess that was part of that meme with the whole Virgil thing, sitting in a plastic chair while waiting for Dante or something like that, or they edited that in there. But yeah, but who would play Captain Stacy in that case? Definitely not Towers, but there are no Amy's relatives that can be used for that. Yeah, not that I can think of. That's probably why he didn't go for it. I mean, the only relatives I know about Amy is from Archie, which is Robbo the Hedge. Um, that's Amy's cousin and stuff. Who's like an archer. I mean, you already know that, Ashes, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. But yeah. It's pretty wild though. I can't lie. Yeah, Amy Burnett wins face. I was sending Harry is okay. Personally, I think Jet should have been used as Harry instead of Knuckles. Yeah, that could have worked too. After all, amazing Harry was more evil. Yes, yes. Well, I can kind of get it, but I mean, yeah, that was kind of messed up that he's the one to kill, Gwen and whatnot. Even though in the comics, Harry, he did kind of become evil and stuff like that. For a bit before he died and redeemed himself. But yeah. Then he's also got other ones about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and he just did a thing about the trailer for Tom Holland's Spider-Man as Sonic or whatever. But yeah, the plastic Jester scene setting is cringe. Yeah. Like, I don't know, it just felt like weird and out of nowhere, but I was like, all right. But yeah. All right, but let me show you what I have so far with my Sonic family tree and stuff. I haven't worked on it a whole lot as much as I wanted to because I've been doing other things or whatever that keeps coming up. But let's pull it up. Hey, All right, that's what I have so far. Pretty much. Let me go one by one. I know I'm probably going to exit the screen share and reopen it, I guess. But let me do that. All right, here it is. So, like I said, this is pretty much my thing about where I'm going to explain or talk about Longclaw and stuff and her rivalry with the Knuckles clan. And then you got a little young Sonic and a young Knuckles, which they've never interacted, of course, in the movie. But, a what if, that would have been cool. And like I said, I based it off of that shot from Super Sons with like that cover with Batman and Superman. So I think in this corner, it's supposed to be Superman and Superboy. And this corner is supposed to be like Batman and Damian Wayne, Robin and whatnot, like looking, like staring down like Superman and Superboy and all that. So yeah. So that's why I based this off on. But yeah. And this is of course supposed to be Knuckles' dad. This isn't Patch Mac. then I got the Dr. Kabuter from or Julian Kabuter from the Archie comics and stuff because I'm talking about Sonic's family tree and I'm going over the history and stuff. So I got him as like, oh, he's pretending to be innocent. I'm this angel and stuff like that, cartoonishly. But in truth, he's the devil, like, yeah. And he backstabbed everybody and stuff like that. Betrayed Sir Charles, betrayed Jules and all that stuff, everybody, and became a tyrant. And then you got Maddie right here from the movies. Her being a veterinarian and taking care of Sonic and stuff. I thought that would be cute to have in there when I talk about the movies and stuff. I have Sonic and Tom fishing and stuff. This is a PNG, but I'll probably have some water and probably some trees in the background and probably the sky, of course, and whatnot. This will probably be in Sonic's room in the attic in the movies. But yeah, so I thought this would be nice and stuff. I kind of based it off of like a silhouette from like just the father and the son fishing and stuff. I thought that would be pretty interesting and stuff. Sonic and Witch-Call have done it before. This is a part of the Archie thing where I kind of based this off of the SpongeBob thing where Squidward was like, where SpongeBob was trying to nurse Squidward and stuff like that and whatnot. And like, yeah, and it's the same thing with the Julian thing. And like, this is Sonic's dad, Jules, and this is Sonic's Uncle Chuck, in their younger days when they met Julian. And, Jules wanted to like, he thought, oh, okay, well, maybe we can save him and stuff like that. And he's in trouble. And Chuck was like, I don't know, bro. This could be bad. And then, it kind of turned out pretty bad. And then I'm going to have this scene where Jules is getting roboticized. So this will be the process. I might have some effects like smoke, lightning, and stuff like that. And then he transforms slowly into his roboticized form. And then he looks up and he kind of like, looks like a metal Sonic, but with this strip of hair that's roboticized like he's supposed to have. I know the quills are supposed to be a little bit different, but this is supposed to be a younger version of him. And I was like, doing this thing where he was staring, like, he's like, staring down like this, but then he looks up like that and whatnot. I know it doesn't line up right now, but I'll probably have it line up in the Witch-Call. And this is the hand-drawn stuff that I did to like, copy off of it and stuff to trace it over digitally and stuff. So this is what I drew. Yep, from my sketchbook. And this is what I'm about to work on next. This is Sonic's roboticized family. I know I should have, yeah, but yeah, this is what I'm working on next. Next up, so this is Jules in the middle, Uncle Chuck, Bernadette, Sonic's mom, Sonic's dog, Muskie. So yeah, so that's what I have for my Sonic family tree. Welcome back, Dr. Hino. Yeah, nothing much. Just talking about my my upcoming animation idea that I'm working on and stuff. I'm not really that finished yet, but you can always go back if you want to like, check back on it. Or I guess you've been here for like 3 minutes, so you probably saw it anyways. But yep. All right. Is there really anything that I want to talk about? Like I said, I really want to talk about some of these disingenuous bad writers and people that are indie and stuff like that. But I would probably say that for another stream, I guess, because this is already on like 2 hours and almost 30 minutes, and it's 11:31. So this would be probably a good time to end. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. It would be nice if I could do a live stream. Oh, I see Dazzling Kate is live. That's cool. Maybe I'll probably pop up over there. But yeah. But maybe I might do I don't know about doing the live stream tomorrow, because even though my family's out of town and stuff, apparently my mom and my nana are coming up here tomorrow. I'm not sure when per se. It's all good talk. Talk to you later. All right, I'll see you, Dr. Hino. But yeah, my mom and my nana are coming up tomorrow, so at least I get to commemorate these moments right now. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I don't enjoy their company, but I like to have my space, and there's not really a whole lot of space over here. What comics are you currently reading? I'm reading Shazam, Power of Shazam. Excuse me. I'm trying to learn more about his lore. Well, right now I'm reading the IDW Ninja Turtles and stuff. I am happy as hell that they are finally bringing back the Turtles' mom, Tang Shin. Yep, that's right. The Turtles actually do have a mom, and that is Tang Shin. She's the wife of Hamato Yoshi, a.k.a. Master Splinter. and stuff like that. I've been wanting for a while since IDW for them to kind of expand on Tang Shin a little bit and show her interacting with her kids and whatnot. So we'll definitely get that probably in the next issue when that comes out, which is probably going to be a month from now. But I like, I like what I see so far and stuff. Artwork is amazing. It's done by Freddie Lee Williams and whatnot. He's the same artist that had done work on the Batman Ninja Turtles crossover and stuff. Like, yeah. So I mean, yeah. So I'm like, all right. At least we're definitely getting some good art, and the storytelling isn't half bad. It's all right. So I want to show my support for it. So I'm reading Ninja Turtles. I'm kind of reading Masters of the Universe, which is also done by Freddie Lee Williams, the second. And then I just read Spawn and stuff. I've never read a Spawn comic before. Well, I have online, but I've never owned a Spawn comic before, even though I just bought the manga, but I haven't read that either. But, first time physically owning a Spawn comic. I just read that. I think it was 235 or something like that. Basically, Spawn fights. I mean, not Spawn, but Spawn and Caliestro fight Malbolgia and stuff. So that was pretty interesting and whatnot. But yeah, those are some of the comics I'm kind of reading. I know the Sonic DC Metal Legion is out and stuff. The first issue. I was contemplating on getting it, but I don't see it in my comic book store because it probably must have sold out quickly as hell. So it is what it is. Talk about the plastic chair from Devil May Cry. I don't really have much to add about the Devil May Cry thing, though. To be honest with you, Taylor. But yeah. So those are some of the comics that I'm just reading, though. The metal. Yeah. So I don't know. I might read that if it gets released as a collection, or I might just read it online or something, I guess. But yeah. Well, which that's going to be hard because they took down Read Comic Online. But I know a channel where they just upload the stuff on YouTube and whatnot, so that works out for me. So I'll just do that. But yeah. What Sonic character do you think fits Raimi's MJ the best? Well, the guy already used Sally and stuff, which I'm not saying Sally's nearly as bad as like Sam Raimi MJ, but I guess it kind of lines up because she is kind of like Sonic's sort of like primary love interest in some versions and whatnot, just like how MJ is supposed to be like Spider-Man's primary love interest and whatnot. So there you have that, So yeah. But yeah. So I'm gonna just chill out for a second. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask. I'll probably end the stream in just a second. See, so I saw Mortal Kombat. It was a pretty decent movie for the most part. Read some comics. Saw The Boys. I already told you my thoughts on it. And like I said, the last two episodes I thought were okay, but every other episode after the first episode of the fifth season was kind of like, all right, this is just stupid, or it's just brain rot at this point. But yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna head out, guys. I appreciate you guys for coming and stuff, supporting the channel. What do you think of the Lego Batman game? Honestly, not interested. I've seen, which is kind of crazy as hell, how they like literally skipped over the DCEU stuff and the Batfleck stuff, but they have no problem pulling from shit from the Tim Burton stuff, and they have no problem pulling from the Christian Bale. They skipped over Ben Affleck purposely for whatever reason, and then just jumped right into the Robert Pattinson thing. I thought that was stupid. So, like I said, I'm already fatigued from Batman, so I'm not really going to go out of my way to get the game. If there is a Batman game I should probably be getting, it's probably Batman Arkham Knight and stuff. Yes, I have never played Arkham Knight. Don't know the full story like that. I just know that Batman gets exposed by Scarecrow and stuff like that, and then he fakes his death or whatever at the end of the game and all that other jazz or whatever. But still, I should probably play it because I've played all the other Arkham games. I played Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and I've played Arkham Origins. I played all that stuff. I have not played Arkham Knight. Okay? But the Lego games, not really interested. I mean, I do have fond memories of playing the first two Lego games. I've never played Lego Batman 3, but I played 1 and 2. Those were great games, especially the second game. First game, I have a lot of memories. I remember playing that with a lot of my friends back in Taekwondo class because we used to have like a PS2 available for us to play whenever we had like downtime. So somebody brought over Lego Batman, and we'll play the two-player thing where somebody would be either Batman or Robin or Batgirl or Nightwing or whatever. So that was pretty cool. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. Kind of disingenuous that they skipped over Ben Affleck's Batman. That was dumb. Not really interested in getting it. Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, I appreciate you guys for showing up and whatnot to the channel. It's supporting and whatnot. But this is the Kage Level Fox, or I go by Jonah Level Fox, or I go by Keenus Fox. I go by Kubi Charmer sometimes, whichever you prefer. But I am out. Peace. And until we meet again. And hopefully I might do another stream next week, and I'll probably talk about the subjects that I haven't got to yet. But yeah, I do have that listed though. But I'll see you guys. Good night.